Secretary de Kong smiled mysteriously, asking, "Do you remember Zhang Debiao, the owner of the Baidun Group?" Zhang Debiao. Yi Bai raised an eyebrow. He certainly recalled that arrogant and ruthless individual. However, Secretary de Kong had been in the capital at the time, causing Zhang to slip his mind. What about him? He has been apprehended. Secretary de Kang's tone was as nonchalant as if discussing a trivial matter. Just a few days ago, the police completed all evidence collection and formally arrested him. A severe legal judgment awaits him, and a lengthy prison sentence is inevitable. He deserves it. Yi Bai nodded. The critical issue is that the Baidun Group he left behind has now become a chaotic mess. Secretary de Kong continued, without a leader. The internal situation is a complete shambles. Following protocol, all assets of this group will soon be publicly auctioned by the court. The higher-ups hope you can step in and take over this group. Me? Yi Bai was taken aback. Yes, Secretary de Kong replied with a smile. We have assessed that with the current state of the Baidun Group, the 30 million in funds is just enough for the acquisition. This is merely a formality, primarily to allow you to assume control legitimately. Yi Bai was momentarily speechless. So, the 30 million deposit he had just received was already destined to be handed over? Secretary de Kong, are there no additional benefits for me aside from providing the funds? He couldn't help but ask. Benefits? Secretary de Kong laughed heartily. The benefits are substantial. You may not realize that while the Baidun Group may not have the best reputation, it is indeed a titan in the industry. The heavy truck transportation and logistics sector across the 6 southern provinces is virtually monopolized by them. This is a veritable cash cow, with annual net profits calculated in the hundreds of millions. Oh, Yi Bai's spirits lifted at this revelation. This was an opportunity too good to pass up. Of course, to ensure stability in the industry, the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission will symbolically hold a 49% stake, Secretary de Kong added. The remaining 51% will belong entirely to you. Yi Bai's expression turned serious. He immediately grasped the deeper implications. A 49% stake held by the state meant that, in name, it was a public-private partnership. However, in reality, he would possess absolute control and decision-making power. This was tantamount to being gifted a ready-made commercial empire with annual profits exceeding 100 million, all backed by the state. Quite intriguing. When can I take over? Yi Bai inquired. Now, Secretary de Kong replied. The court has already been informed. You can proceed to handle the transfer formalities immediately. All right, then let's go. Yi Bai, a man of decisive action, promptly resolved to head to the Baidun Group headquarters. On the way to the headquarters, Yi Bai immersed himself in the system. Submit the modification task for the Hongqi Guiwei. Ding. Host detected completion of D-grade technological modification for Hongqi Guiwei, proceeding with rating. Rating complete. Meets D-grade standards. System upgrade progress has reached 910. Congratulations, host, on receiving a phased reward. Please choose. 1. Immediately receive 5 points of free attribute points. 2. Wait for the system to complete all upgrade tasks, 1010, to receive a doubled reward. Upon viewing the 2 options before him, Yi Bai did not hesitate for a moment. I choose the latter. The rewards granted upon completion of the system's upgrades would undoubtedly be extraordinary. As for attribute points, while precious, they were not a necessity for Yi Bai at the moment. A doubled reward was far more appealing. After making his choice, Yi Bai withdrew his focus. At that moment, the vehicle had gradually entered an impressive commercial park. A towering modern office building loomed before him. That was the headquarters of the Baidun Group. Chapter 260, Taking Over the Baidun Group. As Yi Bai and Secretary de Kong stepped through the grand revolving doors of the Baidun Group headquarters, they were met with an eerie silence. The expansive foyer was devoid of any presence. The receptionist was nowhere to be seen. In the nearby open-plan office area, hundreds of workstations lay empty, with only scattered documents and computer screens left on, indicating that work had once been conducted here. Where is everyone? Yi Bai asked, surveying the nearly vacated floor. They all went inside. Secretary de Kong replied succinctly. Goodness. Yi Bai couldn't help but exclaim. Zhang Debiao had truly rotted the organization from top to bottom, managing to bring the entire executive and middle management of the group into custody. The Baidun Group, despite its myriad challenges, holds paramount significance for the transportation industry across the 6 southern provinces. Secretary de Kong, leading Yi Bai, imparted these earnest thoughts as they ventured deeper into the premises. This entity transcends mere corporate existence. It is intertwined with the livelihoods of countless truck drivers, serving as a vital source of sustenance for many from the lower strata of society. Thus, the group must not falter and must thrive. With a nod of comprehension, Yi Bai grasped the profound significance of assuming leadership of this conglomerate. Traversing the expansive office area, they arrived at an enormous assembly space that resembled a plaza. At that moment, the area was densely populated with thousands of truck drivers clad in blue uniforms, the true bedrock of this vast enterprise. Upon the appearance of Secretary De Kang, the previously cacophonous crowd fell into a hushed silence. Under De Kang's personal guidance and introduction, these earnest truck drivers finally recognized the seemingly youthful figure before them as their forthcoming new boss. Facing the sea of eyes filled with confusion, skepticism, and hope, Yi Bai refrained from delivering any grandiloquent rhetoric. Ascending the stage, he seized the microphone and articulated his inaugural decree. I am aware that within the group, apart from you, there are no remaining management personnel. Thus, my first task will be to reconstruct the various departments of the group. To all the esteemed drivers present, you have traveled extensively, cultivated vast networks, and amassed considerable insight. I implore you to assist me in identifying those who are genuinely talented and capable, whether in finance, legal affairs, human resources, or market operations. If you deem someone suitable, do present them to me. For each successful candidate who passes my interview, I shall personally reward you with sums ranging from 5,000 to 10,000 yuan. This pronouncement instantly stirred the drivers below. Following this, Yi Bai unveiled an even more momentous revelation. I recognize that as an outsider, I am ill-equipped to manage such a vast conglomerate. Frankly, I am not reliant on this for profit. Therefore, I have decided that from this day forth, I shall personally receive only half of the Badenwang Group's annual net profits. The remaining 50% will be distributed entirely in the form of bonuses and dividends to each esteemed driver present, as well as to all future employees joining our group. This declaration rendered the assembly silent. All the truck drivers gazed at Yi Bai with incredulity, questioning if they had misheard him. Half of the group's profits shared with the employees? What kind of extraordinary boss is this? After a brief moment of stunned silence, the assembly erupted into thunderous applause and cheers. Our boss is remarkable. Long live Boss Yi. At that instant, an unprecedented wave of excitement and motivation surged through everyone's hearts. Good days were on the horizon. Through these straightforward yet profound decisions, Yi Bai effectively seized control of the colossal Badenwang Group. His pronouncements served as an invigorating tonic, igniting the passion of all the truck drivers within the organization. That very afternoon, a fervent recruitment campaign commenced throughout the transportation sector across the southern provinces. Hello, son. Stop lingering in that so-called Fortune 500 company. Hurry and resign to come back. A truck driver named Old Wang called his son, who was working far away in the bustling metropolis. On the other end, his son, a department manager at a prestigious foreign enterprise, was taken aback. Dad, are you feeling all right? I'm doing well here, earning hundreds of thousands annually, and you want me to quit? Just for your promise of 10,000 yuan. 10,000 is trivial, Old Wang exclaimed, his excitement palpable. Listen, our group has a new boss. He is extraordinary. He personally promised to distribute half of the group's profits to all employees each year. Half of the profits. Dad, are you being scammed? Is there really such a generous offer? Scammed my foot. Secretary De Kang was present to witness this. It's absolutely true. Think about it. How much does Badenwang earn in a year? Half of that is no small sum compared to your salary. Hurry back. If you don't return, I'll consider you no longer my son. Such dialogues echoed in countless households. Yi Bai had not anticipated that the commitments made to swiftly rebuild the team would trigger such a monumental chain reaction. He was even more astonished by the remarkable potential of these seemingly unassuming truck drivers. In no time, a multitude of talents converged upon the Badenwang Group from all directions. The next day, upon awakening in the office lounge, Yi Bai was utterly astonished by the sight before him. His email inbox was inundated with over 1,000 job applications. Each email was accompanied by a dazzling resume that would make any headhunter swoon. Former senior auditor at PwC, seeking to join your finance department. Harvard Law School PhD with 10 years of experience, applying for the role of chief legal officer. Former vice president of Goldman Sachs Asia, eager to serve under Director Yi and create brilliance together. As Yi Bai gazed at the overwhelming number of offers, he felt as if his head might explode. There was simply too much to process. In desperation, he called upon Zhang Hongying, who was busy at the auto repair shop. Hongying, come quickly. I'm going crazy over here. Upon her arrival at the Badenwang Group headquarters, Zhang Hongying was equally taken aback by the staggering number of emails displayed on Yi Bai's computer screen. Brother, is it really true that so many people are applying? Yi Bai decisively relocated his computer to the conference room and invited Zhang Hongying along with the first batch of elite talents to sift through the resumes. With the assistance of these professionals, efficiency skyrocketed. Soon, the inaugural core management team, comprising 20 individuals, was assembled. Yi Bai gathered them in the conference room and addressed them directly. You are all exceptional individuals, and I am certain you possess unique insights regarding the group's future development. Now, I offer each of you an opportunity. You may propose one initiative that you believe would benefit the group, whether it involves venturing into new businesses or optimizing existing processes. As soon as he finished speaking, the conference room erupted with excitement. The former Goldman Sachs vice president immediately proposed a logistics finance initiative, suggesting that the group leverage its substantial cash flow and transportation network to engage in supply chain financial services. A former executive from Warwick then presented a smart logistics proposal, advocating for significant investment in the research and development of autonomous trucks and intelligent warehousing systems. After listening to their ideas, Yi Bai refrained from providing immediate judgment and instead made a decision that caught everyone off guard. Excellent. He nodded, his gaze sweeping across the room. Your proposals sound highly reasonable. Therefore, I have decided to allow each of you to pursue your ideas. The Logistics Finance Initiative is approved. The Smart Logistics proposal is also approved. I will allocate 500,000 yuan as initial startup capital to each of you. A total of 10 million yuan will be invested now. Go forth and execute your plans. Should your proposals succeed, I will provide unlimited additional funding. If they fail, it's merely a lesson learned. With these words, the conference room fell into a profound silence. All the elites present were left utterly astounded, gazing at Yi Bai as if he were a madman. The projects they proposed often involved investments in the hundreds of millions, with even the initiation funds of 500,000 being considered modest. Yet, Yi Bai's audacity to unhesitatingly support 20 projects simultaneously, all burning through capital, was something they had never witnessed before. After the brief shock wore off, an indescribable sense of admiration surged within them. This boss was not one to indulge in pretenses. When he promised funding, he delivered. To encounter a leader willing to delegate authority, invest boldly, and allow subordinates to learn from mistakes was a dream come true for these professional managers. Once Yi Bai had attended to the matters of the group, his personal life suddenly took on a rather dull hue. The absence of Sun Ling left him with an undeniable sense of longing. Just then, his phone buzzed to life with a message from Xiao Rian. Little Yi, I've just baked some egg tarts, and they are absolutely delightful. Would you like to come over and have a taste? After a moment's contemplation, Yi Bai agreed. Upon arriving at Xiao Rian's residence, he found her muscular husband in the living room, drenched in sweat as he lifted weights, accompanied by the sound of heavy breaths. Little Yi, you've come. Xiao Rian greeted him in a seductive silk nightgown, flashing a charming smile. The egg tarts are in the bedroom. Come in and enjoy. Yi Bai hesitated at the mention of the bedroom, but followed her inside. However, as he scanned the room, he found no egg tarts in sight. Sister Rian, where are the egg tarts? He inquired. Suddenly, Xiao Rian burst into laughter, turning to face him with her enchanting, doe-like eyes. Am I not your egg tart? Yi Bai was taken aback, exclaiming, Sister Rian, please, don't joke. Your husband is still outside. What's there to fear? She replied nonchalantly, approaching him with a beguiling grace that exuded irresistible allure. These past few days without you have been unbearable for me. Once the floodgates open, how could one possibly contain the torrent? As she spoke, she delicately pinned up her flowing hair, revealing her fair and elegant neck. Seeing this familiar gesture, Yi Bai couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. 2 hours later, Yi Bai emerged from the bedroom. Little Yi, your stamina has truly improved. Xiao Rian languidly leaned against the doorframe, her face radiating satisfaction. I can hardly manage alone. At her words, Yi Bai nearly stumbled, hastening his steps to escape the scene. Yet, as he reached the living room, he was intercepted by a towering figure. Xiao Rian's muscular husband, having ceased his workout, now fixed a bloodshot gaze upon Yi Bai. Brother, you seem like quite the practitioner. Care for a friendly spar? He extended his massive arm, thicker than Yi Bai's thigh, across the coffee table. Let's see how we measure up. Arm wrestling? Yi Bai glanced at the man's gargantuan arm, veins bulging like snakes, and felt a flicker of trepidation. If caught in a grip, his arm might very well be rendered useless. Just as he hesitated, Xiao Rian interjected with a playful reprimand. What are you doing? Little Yi is my esteemed guest. If you dare harm a single hair on his head, I assure you, your secrets will be exposed. At the mention of secrets, the muscular man visibly trembled, his eyes glistening with unshed tears as he turned back to Yi Bai. Brother, I beg you, let us keep this friendly and not let me lose too embarrassingly. Observing his distress, Yi Bai sighed. All right, let us begin. With a thunderous roar, the muscular man exerted all his might, Yet to his despair, no matter how hard he pushed, Yi Bai's hand remained as steadfast as if it were welded to the table. In contrast, Yi Bai exerted minimal effort, a light smile gracing his face. With a gentle twist of his wrist, he effortlessly pinned the man's arm to the table. Defeated, staring at his hand held down, the muscular man felt utterly crushed. His strength had been his sole source of pride, and now that last bastion lay in ruins. This is too devastating, he cried, and in the next moment, the towering figure, over 6 feet tall and weighing more than 200 pounds, sank to the ground, sobbing like a child. He then sprang up, covering his face, and fled the room without a backward glance. Yi Bai, witnessing this dramatic scene, felt a twinge of embarrassment as he rubbed his nose. Chapter 262, The Land Dragon Class Mobile Takeoff and Landing Platform. Returning to the expansive Yunshao Auto Repair Shop, Yi Bai gazed at the Koenigsegg in the garage. A sudden thought igniting within him. System, how much shock value is required to modify this Koenigsegg? Ding. Target vehicle detected. Koenigsegg, rated as a B-class technological creation. Host's current permission level is insufficient for modification. B-class? Rather than feeling disheartened, Yi Bai's excitement grew. This Koenigsegg was already among the world's most elite, limited edition supercars. Yet it was only rated as B-class in the system. What then? He pondered. Could a Class A or even an S-class vehicle be like? His anticipation swelled. Since modifying the supercar was temporarily out of reach, Yi Bai shifted his focus to the recently acquired 100-ton King Group. To elevate the group's profile in the shortest time possible, a sufficiently shocking new flagship was essential. He promptly instructed to have a brand new heavy-duty tractor unit brought over from the group. 100-ton King? No, that is far too modest. It must become the 1,000-ton King. Only by enhancing its load capacity by an order of magnitude could they install more functional modules, unlocking greater potential. For instance, they could construct a temporary runway capable of accommodating fighter jets, transforming it into a genuine land-based aircraft carrier. This idea set Yi Bai's blood aflame. In modern warfare, airport runways are among the easiest targets for enemies to destroy. Once an airport is incapacitated, 1S fighter jets become caged birds unable to take flight. However, if there existed a mobile carrier on land, this critical issue could be effortlessly resolved. This would prove infinitely more useful than using highways as temporary runways. Without hesitation, Yi Bai immersed himself in the second phase laboratory. Ultimately, a modification plan for the 1,000-ton King, named the Land Dragon Class Mobile Takeoff and Landing Platform, was officially born in his hands. The entire plan was divided into 3 core modules. Deck module, constructing a super deck robust enough to withstand the impact of fighter jets taking off and landing. The deck's main body was composed of 3 meters of reinforced concrete, its surface covered with a layer capable of withstanding temperatures up to 2,000 degrees, utilizing high borosilicate friction material. Beneath the deck, 600 super hydraulic energy-absorbing cylinders were installed, each capable of absorbing an astonishing 18 megajoules, sufficient to mitigate the impact energy of a J-20 fighter jet upon landing. Simultaneously, to ensure absolute stability upon landing, the vehicle's sides will instantaneously deploy 8 hydraulic ground anchors capable of penetrating the Earth to a depth of 45 meters. Additionally, the liquid helium ballast compartment beneath the vehicle will swiftly adjust its weight, lowering the center of gravity to a staggering 0.8 meters. Braking module. To enable the high-speed landing of the fighter jet to come to a halt within a short distance, a multi-tiered braking system must be employed. The first tier consists of a gigantic carbon ceramic brake disc with a diameter of 24 meters, which dissipates 40 of kinetic energy through pure physical friction. The second tier involves reverse eddy current braking, which utilizes the formidable electromagnetic resistance generated by superconducting coils to decelerate the jet. The magnetic flux density of the superconducting coils reaches 72 T, producing an electromagnetic resistance of 280 N. The third tier features a deck jet propulsion system that ejects supersonic compressed air at Mach 12, creating a boundary layer that enhances aerodynamic drag and counteracts lift from airflow. Nuclear power module. To power this colossal war machine and sustain the terrifying energy consumption of the deck and braking systems, the most advanced energy source is required. A compact nuclear battery composed of plutonium-238 isotopes will serve as its core power source, ensuring near-infinite endurance and energy supply. As Yi Bai gazed upon this near-perfect design plan for the Land Dragon class mobile takeoff and landing platform, his heart brimmed with excitement. Once constructed, it could serve as a crucial strategic asset, providing emergency takeoff and landing platforms for friendly aircraft in the event of destruction at forward airfields. or facilitating rapid deployment in complex terrain of high-altitude regions. However, it also harbored two fatal flaws. First, it demands exceptionally high standards for ground flatness and gradient. Any slight irregularity would jeopardize the safety of the aircraft during takeoff and landing. Second, its sheer size renders it an expensive undertaking, with preliminary estimates suggesting that constructing a prototype would require a staggering investment of 100 million yuan. In modern warfare, once detected by enemy reconnaissance satellites, it would be challenging to survive the saturation attacks of precision-guided munitions. The 100 million yuan price tag left Yi Bai feeling somewhat distressed. With barely over 100 million yuan in his possession, investing it all would leave him financially destitute. After much contemplation, Yi Bai resolved to seek funding from the military. With the detailed design plan in hand, he returned to the Southern Military District to meet with Long Hantian. However, after reviewing the entire proposal, Long Hantian slowly shook his head. Yi Bai, your idea is bold and creative, he stated pragmatically. Yet, from our military's perspective, its practical value is rather limited. He pointed out the two flaws in the proposal with piercing clarity. The high ground requirements and its large target make it too easy to be targeted. 100 million yuan could be allocated to more pressing needs. Therefore, I believe this project is unnecessary. Though disappointed by Long Hantian's outright rejection, Yi Bai found it somewhat anticipated. However, Long Hantian shifted his tone and smiled. While we may not have use for it, I believe there is a place that would be very interested in your proposal. Where? Yi Bai inquired. The Dragon Institute. Long Hantian replied. The design concept of your mobile platform is exceptionally advanced. I suggest you explore opportunities there. With Long Hantian's recommendation, Yi Bai soon met several top experts at the Dragon Institute. As the elderly academicians examined Yi Bai's fantastical, yet theoretically feasible design plan, their eyes lit up with enthusiasm. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, exclaimed an elder responsible for large equipment research, excitedly pounding the table. Who says this platform must solely be used for aircraft takeoff and landing? We could easily mount oversized, immobile scientific research equipment on it. For instance, a large radio telescope array or a high-energy particle collider. With this platform, we could relocate our laboratories to any location we require. The experts at the Dragon Institute exhibited immense enthusiasm for the proposal. However, when the topic turned to funding, they encountered difficulties. Comrade Yi, we at the Dragon Institute are very optimistic about your proposal and have decided to support it, said the elder, though his expression revealed his dilemma. However, our recent research funding is indeed tight. We can only scrape together a maximum of 50 million yuan for development. As for the remaining 50 million, you may need to devise a solution yourself. Chapter 263. Did nothing and yet secured 10,000 orders? Exiting the Dragon Institute. Yi Bai's feelings were mixed. Although the project had been approved, the 50 million yuan funding gap loomed like a heavy burden on his heart. It seemed he would need to explore commercial partnerships. After much deliberation, he set his sights on Huadu International Airport. Although his Land Dragon-class platform held limited military value, it could serve as an emergency takeoff and landing platform in civilian use during unforeseen circumstances, such as runway damage. He promptly contacted the operations manager of Huadu Airport, detailing his proposal. After listening, the manager praised the design. Mr. Yi, your design is indeed remarkable, brimming with imagination, he said courteously. But to be frank, it holds little utility for our airport. We have 3 backup runways and the most professional maintenance team capable of repairing any damage within 24 hours. Therefore, we genuinely see no need to invest heavily in acquiring an emergency platform. Once again rejected, Yi Bai could only sigh in resignation. Just as he felt despondent, he suddenly thought of a person, Jiang Chumo, the heiress of Wuling Hongguang. With a sense of trepidation, he dialed her number, succinctly explaining his project and the funding challenges he faced. To his astonishment, Jiang Chumo, without a hint of hesitation, agreed. 50 million, right? No problem. I'll personally fund it. Really? Yi Bai exclaimed, both astonished and elated. Of course it's true, Jiang Chumo laughed on the phone. However, I have one condition. What condition? He asked. Today is the launch event for our new product, the Wuling Hongguang Spicy Fish Head Mini. You must attend as a special guest to promote it. Is that all? That's all. It's a deal. That evening, Yi Bai dutifully opened his Douyin livestream. As soon as he began broadcasting, the viewer count skyrocketed, instantly surpassing 10,000. The barrage of comments flooded in like a tidal wave. Wow! The missing person, Yi Shun, has finally returned. Yi Shun, what car are you planning to modify today? Are you going to pull off another earth-shattering stunt? Can't wait. I can hardly wait to see Yi Shun's new creation today. Looking at the enthusiastic fans on the screen, Yi Bai cleared his throat and smiled, saying, "Ahem. Good evening, everyone. Today, we won't be modifying any cars. Instead, I'm here to promote my collaboration with Wuling Hongwan's Spicy Fish Head Mini's new product launch. I hope those with deep pockets can visit the official livestream and show some support. If you're short on cash, just pretend I didn't say anything." As soon as he finished speaking, the tone of the livestream comments shifted dramatically. "Cut it out. I'm so broke I'm about to eat dirt." Exactly. Can't afford it. Next. Yishan, you've changed. You've started promoting products. Unfollowed. Though they vocally lament their financial constraints, the sales data tells a different story. Behind the scenes of the Wuling Hongwan official livestream, the order numbers are surging at an astonishingly rapid pace. Within mere minutes, the initial stock of 100,000 units of the Spicy Fish Head Mini was completely sold out. Many users, who were too slow to secure an order, inundated the chat with requests for restocks. "Alright, that's a wrap for today's stream," Yibai said, glancing at the overwhelming order data with a satisfied smile. He casually engaged with the viewers while awaiting the conclusion of the event. Little did he realize, the energy unleashed by his fans was far more formidable than he had anticipated. Just as he was about to sign off, an excited call came through from Wuling Hongwan's operations director. "Mr. Yi, we've broken the record. Our pre-sale orders have surpassed 200,000 units. 200,000 units. Yibai was taken aback. This wasn't merely a sales figure. It represented 200,000 vehicles. He looked at his fans in the livestream, who were still bemoaning their empty wallets, and felt a mix of amusement and disbelief. You lot say you don't want them, yet your actions tell a different tale. After the event concluded, Jiang Chumo approached Yibai, her beautiful eyes brimming with gratitude and admiration. "Yibai, I cannot thank you enough. Without you, our new product launch would not have achieved such remarkable success." To express her appreciation, she declared, "Regarding the Lu Long class platform project we discussed earlier, I will personally invest 50 million. The funds will be in your account by tomorrow." Fantastic. Yibai felt a surge of excitement. With Jiang Chumo's 50 million, combined with the previous 50 million from Lonka Institute, they finally had 100 million in startup capital. In the following days, Yibai immersed himself entirely in the transformation of the Lu Long class mobile takeoff and landing platform. This was an immensely grand and complex project. Given that the facilities and equipment at Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop could not accommodate the scale of the modifications required, Yibai relocated the entire project to a large automobile manufacturing plant owned by Jiang Chumo in the outskirts of Huadu. Here, he had access to nearly limitless resources and authority. Massive gantry cranes worked tirelessly, hoisting heavy special steel plates weighing dozens of tons into position. Numerous high-precision industrial 3D printers buzzed away, crafting intricate titanium alloy components with micron-level accuracy. Over 1,000 elite engineers and technicians operated under Yibai's unified command, each with clearly defined roles, some laying down the intricately dense hydraulic pipelines and cables, others welding the 3-meter-thick supercomposite deck, and still others carefully installing precision sensors and braking modules. The entire factory operated like a finely tuned, high-speed machine. Yibai, sleeping only 3 or 4 hours a night, either refined design blueprints at his computer or resolved various technical challenges on site. Although the project was complex, its completion speed was astonishingly rapid. Chapter 264, Above Huadu. The space shuttle engines ignite. After more than half a month of relentless construction, the prototype of the Lu Long class mobile takeoff and landing platform was finally completed at the Huadu factory. To promote his 100-ton King Group and this groundbreaking new flagship, Yibai initiated another livestream to showcase his latest masterpiece. As soon as the stream began, thousands of viewers flocked to join. Front row. Yishun is live again. What kind of aircraft is he preparing this time? No way. He is not going to sell Spicy Fish Head again, is he? My wallet is empty. Haha. I bet 5 dimes that Yishun is going to unveil some earth-shattering modification. Observing the lively comments in the live stream, Yibai smiled mysteriously. Today, I will not be selling Spicy Fish Heads. Instead, I present to you the latest model from the 100-ton King Group, the 1,000-ton King. Limited to 1 unit globally, priced at a mere 300 million. Interested parties can place their orders now. His words sent shockwaves through the chat. What? 300 million? Have you lost your mind, Yisha? Who can afford that? Even if I dug up my ancestors' graves, I wouldn't have 300 million. Absurd. This is completely outrageous. Do you have a misunderstanding about money? Seeing their exaggerated reactions, Yibai chuckled and clarified. Just a joke. Just a joke. This vehicle is essentially a dream project of mine. I simply wanted to create it. Now, without further ado, let me show you how my 300 million was spent. With a gesture to his staff, The livestream camera panned to the vast outdoor area of the factory. There, a colossal truck resembling a land-bound behemoth stood silently. Behold, this is the standard form of our Lu Long-class mobile takeoff and landing platform. Now, I will demonstrate its fully deployed form. With a command from Yibai, the massive vehicle began to move. Accompanied by the deep, resonant sounds of hydraulic machinery, the truck's body slowly extended outward. Heavy, gleaming metal plates unfolded like a transformer from within the vehicle, connecting and expanding. The entire process, though gradual, exuded an unparalleled industrial aesthetic of raw power. After 5 minutes, this colossal entity ceased its transformation, revealing not a truck, but a ground runway comparable to the deck of an aircraft carrier, stretching hundreds of meters in length and dozens of meters in width. The live stream chat, after a brief moment of stunned silence, erupted into a flood of astonished comments. Oh my goodness, this is beyond comprehension. Even Optimus Prime would kneel in awe. Absolutely breathtaking. This is a true industrial miracle. It deserves a Guinness World Record. What you're witnessing is the deck module. Yibai's voice resonated. This deck is composed of 3-meter-thick steel plates, with a surface coated to withstand friction at temperatures up to 2,000 degrees. Beneath it lies 600 super-hydraulic energy absorption cylinders, capable of absorbing the impact energy of a heavy fighter jet landing at 93 ms. Furthermore, to ensure absolute stability upon landing, 8 hydraulic ground anchor piles will instantaneously deploy from the sides of the vehicle, drilling 45 meters into the ground. Additionally, the liquid helium ballast tank beneath the vehicle will immediately adjust the weight distribution, lowering the center of gravity to a staggering 0.8 meters. Moreover, to facilitate the rapid deceleration of high-speed landing fighter jets, we have equipped it with a 3-tiered braking system. Yibai meticulously detailed the extraordinary features outlined in his design plans to the millions of viewers in the live stream, leaving them utterly captivated and spellbound. Impressive. I can think of no other word to describe this. This is like bringing elements from a sci-fi movie into reality. Amidst the chorus of awe and admiration, a few rational netizens raised their queries. Although it is impressive, I am quite curious. Is this device truly of practical use? As discussions about the utility of the Long Dragon platform continued fervently in the live chat, high above the bustling city of Huadu, a Boeing 747, operated by China Southern Airlines, glided smoothly through the skies, en route to Shenzhen. Inside the cabin, passengers were engrossed in books, resting, or gazing at the sea of clouds outside, creating an atmosphere of tranquility and ease. However, in the cockpit, Captain Li Jiangguo felt beads of cold sweat forming on his forehead. He fixed his gaze upon the fuel gauge, which was plummeting at an alarming rate, and an ominous premonition surged within him. Damn it! The fuel tank must have been scraped by something during takeoff. We are leaking fuel. The co-pilot's face mirrored his shock. Captain, at our current rate of leakage, once he make it to Shenzhen, we may not even clear Huadu. We must land immediately. Otherwise, if we run out of fuel, this plane, along with over 400 passengers, will be doomed. Without hesitation, Li Jiangguo seized the communications device and urgently contacted the ground control at Huadu Airport. Mayday! 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 This is Southern Airlines Flight CZ3844. We are experiencing a severe fuel leak. Requesting emergency landing. Repeat. Requesting emergency landing. Upon receiving this highest level of distress signal, the tower at Huadu Airport sprang into action. Southern Airlines Flight CZ3844. This is Huadu Tower. Your emergency landing request is granted. Please immediately redirect towards runway 03. All ground units, clear runway 03 now. Fire trucks, ambulances, stand by at designated locations. Under the tower's command, Li Jiangguo maintained his composure, skillfully maneuvering the aircraft downwards towards the distant runway. The passengers, having learned of the malfunction through the announcements, were enveloped in an atmosphere of tension. Just as everyone believed the plane would land safely, an unforeseen and more perilous mishap occurred. A thunderous bang erupted from the right wing, and the entire fuselage began to shake violently and uncontrollably. Alarms blared in the cockpit. Captain, the right engine number 2 has suffered a bird strike. It is completely out of control. The co-pilot exclaimed in terror. Steady, steady. Li Jiangguo gripped the control yoke with all his strength, attempting to regain control of the now tilted steel giant. Yet, the failure of one engine caused the aircraft to lose all balance. Inside the cabin, chaos erupted. Luggage flew about like projectiles, and passengers were tossed around violently. The air was filled with piercing screams, cries, and prayers. Huadu Tower. Huadu Tower. We have suffered a bird strike. The right engine number 2 has completely failed. The plane is losing control and descending rapidly. Repeat. The plane is descending rapidly. In the cockpit, Li Jiangwo's eyes were bloodshot as he screamed, exerting every ounce of strength against the heavy control yoke in a final struggle. Given the current state of the aircraft, achieving a precise landing on the distant runway was a task rendered impossible. Requesting assistance. Requesting any possible alternate landing plans from the ground. Any plan will do. His voice resonated clearly through the radio to the ground control at Huadu Airport and reached every staff member's ears. The tower commander, hearing the desperate cries over the radio and watching the radar display showing the aircraft plummeting at a terrifying speed, felt as though he had plunged into an icy abyss. His limbs turning cold. Immediately, contact the municipal committee. Seek help from Secretary de Kong. In the office of the municipal committee, Secretary de Kong had just concluded an important meeting. He lifted his teacup, but before he could take a sip, the door was flung open. Secretary de Kong. This is bad. A major incident has occurred. News from the airport reported that a Boeing 747 carrying over 400 passengers had lost control over Huadu. Fuel is leaking, and the engine has suffered a bird strike. It could crash at any moment. What? De Kong exclaimed, springing to his feet, letting the teacup shatter on the floor. What does the airport say? He forced himself to calm down, inquiring in a grave tone. The airport reports that the plane is completely out of control and cannot land on the runway. They request us to see if we can urgently clear a large sports field or an athletic track in the city for an emergency landing. Absurd. De Kang's anger flared. Finding a place in the city for the plane to land? Have they lost their minds? Not to mention whether those locations are long enough. Just having such a heavy metal object come crashing down would cause immense secondary casualties. Have they considered that? He paced anxiously around his office, his mind racing to find a glimmer of hope in this dire situation. Runway. Runway. Where is there a runway for the plane to land? Suddenly, he recalled the movable aircraft launching land carrier that Yi Bai had showcased a few days prior. Although he was unsure if it could support the weight of a Boeing 747, it was now the only remaining hope. Without hesitation, he picked up the red phone on his desk and dialed Yi Bai's number at lightning speed. Yi Bai? This is Secretary de Kong. Where are you right now? Is your land carrier nearby? On the other end, Yi Bai stood on the deck of the Long Dragon platform, engaging with millions of viewers in the live stream. Sudden urgency struck him when he received Secretary de Kang's call. Secretary de Kong, I'm at the Wuling factory in Huadu, and my 100-ton behemoth is right beneath me. What is the matter? A major incident has occurred. De Kang's voice was grave. A Boeing 747 has lost control over Huadu. It could crash at any moment. I am now ordering you, in the name of the Huadu Municipal Committee, to immediately activate your Long Dragon platform to provide an emergency landing site for the distressed aircraft. What? Yi Bai was taken aback. The relaxed demeanor he had just moments ago vanished without a trace. It was as if he had been injected with a shot of adrenaline. He never anticipated that the very contraption he had been boasting about would be needed so soon, and for a rescue operation of this magnitude. Understood. I will ensure the task is accomplished. Yi Bai responded without hesitation. After hanging up, he turned to the live stream camera, his expression turning gravely serious. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation has changed. His voice resonated through the microphone, reaching the ears of millions of viewers. I have just received an urgent notification from the municipal committee, and the planned testing content must now be adjusted. The audience in the live streaming room was momentarily stunned. What is going on? What new stunt is Yishan up to now? Yi Bai glanced at the barrage of comments, took a deep breath, and then, with an unprecedented fervor in his voice, declared, we will no longer conduct simulation tests. We are going straight for the real deal. Today's live broadcast features live airplane landing, a Boeing 787. As soon as the words escaped his lips, the entire live streaming room erupted after a brief, suffocating silence. The barrage of comments surged forth like a torrential flood, refreshing the screen with alarming speed. What the hell? Did I just hear that right? Live airplane landing. This is insane. Yishan, you've truly lost it. Landing a plane? What kind of international joke is this? That's an aircraft, not your toy remote control. My goodness. This is far more thrilling than modifying a car. P.S. Aiming for the skies. Amidst the shock and skepticism, knowledgeable netizens began to enlighten others. Guys, this isn't a joke. How much does a plane cost? We're talking over $1 billion. Over $1 billion? That's the Boeing 787. The 747, while older, still costs several hundred million. If this goes wrong, Yishan could go bankrupt on the spot. This must start at tens of millions. If it fails, it could lead to a colossal disaster that shocks the world. In an instant, the enthusiasm of all viewers was ignited. Just as they were grappling with the audacity of the notion of landing an airplane live, the camera suddenly panned upwards to reveal the overcast sky. Moments later, a fiery object trailing a long plume of black smoke appeared in the distance. As the camera zoomed in, everyone realized with horror that it was indeed a plane engulfed in flames. One of its wings was engulfed in thick smoke, the fuselage shaking violently in the air, plummeting towards the ground in a dangerously unstable descent. Chapter 266. Goodness. This is truly an epic rescue. What the hell? This is real. It's actually happening. Oh my god. The plane is indeed in distress. This live stream is hardcore. It's over. At this height, can anyone on board be saved? At that moment, every viewer glued to their screens felt their hearts leap into their throats. Meanwhile, on the ground in Huadu, an unprecedented race against time had begun. All personnel, pay attention. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Yi Bai shouted into the communicator from the command platform of the Long Dragon class platform. Activate the Long Dragon platform immediately. Target, North City Expressway. Full speed ahead. With a deep, resonant roar reminiscent of an ancient beast awakening. The massive Long Dragon mobile takeoff and landing platform, powered by a small nuclear battery, surged forward like a steel beast in motion towards its destination. What a spectacular yet absurd sight it was. In the bustling main artery of Huadu, a steel giant longer than a train and wider than a building sped by at a pace that belied its size, akin to a racing car. Chaos unfolded on the highway. A young heir who had just acquired a Maserati was reveling in the roar of the engine and the envious glances of passers-by, when suddenly, an enormous shadow loomed in his rearview mirror, growing ever larger. Then, a roar, 100 times mightier than his proud V8 engine, engulfed him entirely. He felt his sports car tremble under the force of the terrifying wind. Instinctively, he jerked the steering wheel, accompanied by the screech of tires, narrowly avoiding collision with the colossal entity. His face turned pale as he stared in shock as the beast roared past him, his mind blank, murmuring, "Did I just see Godzilla?" Countless drivers experienced that same moment of terror. On both sides of the street, panic and astonishment reached new heights. The ground trembled slightly but distinctly, as if a minor earthquake had struck. Meanwhile, within the towering skyscrapers, the scene was quite different. On the 38th floor of a tech company, a programmer was furrowing his brow over a line of code when suddenly, he noticed his coffee cup vibrating ominously on the table. Soon, everyone on the floor felt the unusual tremor. "Is it an earthquake?" someone shouted, and instinctively, everyone turned to look out the window. What they saw would be etched in their memories forever. Down below, the enormous beast, like a steel dragon, raced through the urban canyon. From their vantage point, it appeared to occupy nearly the entire width of the street. Those buses and trucks that usually seemed large appeared as mere toys in its shadow. Oh my god! Countless phones were raised, capturing the unbelievable sight outside. They had no idea what this rampaging giant in the city and the aircraft plummeting from the sky signified. Yet, they all shared a strong, collective premonition. Something monumental was about to unfold in Huadu today. Meanwhile, Yi Bai was entirely focused on communicating with the aircraft's cockpit, oblivious to the chaos below. Southern Airlines, CZ-3844. This is the Long Dragon platform. I have locked onto your location. Please maintain altitude and orientation as best as you can. I am approaching you. Received. Long Dragon platform. We can barely hold on, came the desperate shout of Li Jiangguo over the communicator. Yi Bai looked up at the fireball growing ever closer in the sky. Time was running out. Report. Arrived at the designated section of the North City Expressway. The clearance vehicle has completed the road clearing. No obstacles within 5 kilometers ahead. The report from the Ground Traffic Management Department came through the communicator. Received. Yi Bai glanced at the navigation screen, where a red dot representing the distressed passenger aircraft was diving towards his location at an astonishing speed. Now's the time. Long Dragon platform. Deck deployment. Yi Bai pressed the prominent red button on the command platform, with a series of unbearable metallic grinding and hydraulic sounds. The high-speed Long Dragon platform commenced its breathtaking transformation. Heavy, metallic-hued supercomposite panels rapidly flipped, extended, and interlocked like a blooming steel lotus from either side of the vehicle. The entire process was fluid and breathtakingly beautiful in its industrial elegance. In a matter of seconds, a mobile runway hundreds of meters long and several dozen meters wide, rivaling that of an aircraft carrier, materialized on the highway before the astonished eyes of all. Deck deployment complete. Anchor system activated. Liquid helium counterweight chamber activated. Brake system self-check complete. All systems normal. Requesting aircraft landing. A series of green prompts appeared on the command platform screen. Southern Airlines, CZ-3844. The runway is ready for your landing. You may descend. Yi Bai seized the communicator and, directed towards the aircraft looming in the sky, bellowed, "Received. We are on our way." Inside the cockpit, Li Jiangguo gazed at the ground below, where a suddenly manifested, gleaming metallic runway appeared. In his eyes, once dulled by despair, a flicker of hope ignited. This was their sole and final chance. Everyone hold on tight. With the last vestiges of his strength, he yanked back on the control stick, striving to elevate the nose of the plane just before touchdown, aiming to achieve the perfect landing posture. The aircraft, akin to a wounded giant bird, hurtled down with a piercing wail toward the moving steel runway. In that moment, over 400 passengers and crew aboard the plane, alongside thousands of rescuers and onlookers on the ground, and millions watching from their screens, collectively held their breath. It felt as though their hearts had ceased to beat, their eyes fixated on the impending cataclysm between the two entities. A singular thought resonated within them all: it must succeed. It must be caught. Chapter 267. The 100-ton king receives the aircraft, a historic moment. Boom. Under the suffocating gaze of all, the heavy landing gear of the Boeing 747 finally crashed onto the deck of the Long Dragon-class platform, accompanied by a deafening roar reminiscent of mountains crumbling and earth shattering. An indescribable force of impact reverberated throughout the platform. Below, 600 super-hydraulic, energy-consuming cylinders simultaneously endured this apocalyptic shock. Countless hydraulic fluids surged through the pipes, transforming that terrifying kinetic energy into heat, dissipating it into the void. On either side of the vehicle, the 8 hydraulic ground anchor piles, deeply embedded underground, held the platform steadfastly in place, preventing even the slightest displacement. However, due to the severe tilt of the aircraft during its descent, one wing uncontrollably swept toward the greenery beside the highway as it touched the deck. Crack, crack. An excruciatingly sharp sound of braking echoed. The once formidable steel wing transformed into a scythe, severing trees of considerable girth as if they were mere stalks of wheat. Countless wood chips and leaves soared skyward. This perilous scene caused every heart to leap into their throats. Fortunately, it was merely a minor interlude. The aircraft's fuselage had successfully landed on the deck. "Activate the braking system," Yi Bai commanded, watching as the plane sped across the deck. Buzz. Countless nozzles simultaneously unleashed supersonic jets of compressed air beneath the wheels. The massive 24-meter diameter carbon ceramic brake discs began to engage in the most primal and forceful friction with the axles. The immense electromagnetic resistance acted like countless invisible hands, firmly restraining the aircraft's rear. Under the combined force of the triple braking system, the Boeing 747, once galloping wild as a runaway horse, began to decelerate at a visibly rapid pace. After gliding for several hundred meters, it finally came to a gentle halt less than 10 meters from the deck's edge. Success. Truly a triumph. As the plane came to a complete stop, the world seemed to plunge into a profound silence. This was soon followed by a deafening roar of jubilant cheers. Inside the aircraft, those passengers who had just flirted with death, after a brief stupor, erupted into a chorus of tears and elation. They embraced the strangers beside them, weeping openly, releasing their pent-up fear and relief. In the cockpit, Captain Li Jiangguo collapsed into his seat, utterly spent. Gazing out at the familiar skyline of Huadu, tears streamed down his face uncontrollably. He knew he and the more than 400 lives behind him had been saved. Grasping the communicator, he spoke with a trembling voice, laden with emotion, expressing his heartfelt gratitude to the miraculous platform. "Thank you, Long Dragon platform." Soon, countless police and fire vehicles arrived, swiftly cordoning off the area and erecting long security barriers to prevent any secondary disasters. Rescue personnel quickly boarded the plane to comfort and evacuate the emotionally charged passengers. A miracle. This was undeniably an unprecedented miracle in the annals of aviation history. The moment the aircraft successfully made its emergency landing, news of the event spread throughout Long Country and the world, as if taking flight through countless cameras and airwaves. Huadu News. This afternoon, a severe passenger aircraft incident occurred above our city. A Boeing 747 carrying over 400 passengers lost control due to fuel leakage and bird strikes. In this critical moment, a private enterprise named 100-Ton King, led by Mr. Yi Bai, took action. He personally piloted the Long Dragon-class mobile takeoff and landing platform, successfully executing an emergency landing on a highway, creating an extraordinary miracle in global aviation rescue history. All over 400 passengers and crew members were rescued, with no casualties. Major news outlets dominated their front pages with this legendary story. Yi Bai's name, along with his otherworldly Long Dragon-class platform, became a global sensation overnight. At the scene of the accident, heartwarming scenes unfolded continuously. As the evacuated passengers set foot on solid ground once more, they could no longer contain their emotions, kneeling to kiss the earth that had granted them a second chance at life. Soon, anxious family members from Huadu and surrounding cities, having heard the news, broke through the security lines to embrace their loved ones tightly. An elderly mother, tears streaming down her face, held her son, who had just escaped death. A young husband clutched his pregnant wife, feeling their hearts beat in unison, as if they possessed the entire world. Tears of survival soaked every garment, moving everyone present. Again and again, they expressed their most sincere and heartfelt gratitude to the rescue personnel and the young man who had wrought this miracle. Online discussions about this monumental rescue surged to unprecedented heights. Yi Bai's livestream footage was edited into countless versions, rapidly disseminated across major video platforms. Yi Shun livestreams the aircraft rescue, the most hardcore rescue in history, a peerless hero. Yi Bai? Topics brimming with fervor and admiration surged to the top of trending lists across platforms. The attention garnered reached unprecedented levels. As the architect of it all, Yi Bai was met with the most bountiful rewards. His mind resonated with the system's notification sounds, cascading like a tide. Ding! Congratulations, host, on receiving shock value 100,000. Ding! Congratulations, host, on receiving shock value 120,000. Ding! Countless shock values continuously flowed into his system account. Finally, when all the dust had settled, Yi Bai glanced at his system panel. A staggering 30 million. Nearly 30 million in shock value. By this calculation, this time was not a loss at all. If he could sell the Long Dragon platform, it would be an even greater profit. Chapter 268. Unlocking the Modification and Upgrade Authority for C-Class Vehicles. At this moment, Yi Bai was unaware that shortly, his words would turn prophetic. Following the successful conclusion of the rescue operation, a high-profile commendation conference was grandly held at the Huadu City Committee building. During the meeting, Secretary De Kong tightly grasped Yi Bai's hand, his face brimming with excitement and gratitude. Yi Bai had saved him once again. Without Yi Bai's intervention, not only would he not have achieved his current success, but he might have already lost his position. Just thinking about it almost made Secretary De Kong feel an overwhelming urge to kneel before Yi Bai. This is a benefactor. Comrade Yi Bai, on behalf of the Huadu City Committee and the 18 million citizens of Huadu, I extend to you the highest respect and sincerest gratitude. You have not only saved over 400 families, but have also defended the honor of our city, Huadu. You are undoubtedly a hero of Huadu. Following this, the chairman of Huadu International Airport stepped forward and deeply bowed to Yi Bai. He was the superior of the operations department manager who had previously declined Yi Bai's cooperation proposal. At this moment, his face was filled with shame and regret. Without the Long Dragon platform, he would likely have been on the verge of resignation. With an accident involving over 400 individuals, who knows how he would have been punished? Mr. Yi, please allow me to apologize for my previous short-sightedness and ignorance. If it were not for your unwavering determination in creating this Long Dragon-class platform, an irreversible tragedy would have occurred under my jurisdiction today. I would have become a historical criminal. You are the savior of our entire Huadu airport. Moreover, even the Shenzhen International Airport, located hundreds of kilometers away, dispatched its highest-ranking representative. The representative from Shenzhen Airport also expressed profound gratitude to Yi Bai. The ill-fated Southern Airlines flight CZ-3844 was originally destined for Shenzhen. Had it not been for Yi Bai's heroic efforts, the immense public pressure and aftermath of the disaster would have fallen upon them. After expressing their gratitude, the representative from Shenzhen Airport suddenly shifted the conversation, eagerly addressing Yi Bai. Mr. Yi, after an emergency discussion among our board of directors, we unanimously believe that your Long Dragon-class mobile takeoff and landing platform holds immeasurable strategic value for ensuring civil aviation safety. Therefore, we would like to purchase this platform from you. We are willing to offer. He took a deep breath and extended 3 fingers. 300 million. This figure caused everyone present to gasp in astonishment. However, Yi Bai merely smiled and shook his head. I'm sorry, but I cannot accept this price. The representative from Shenzhen Airport grew anxious upon hearing this. Mr. Yi, the price is negotiable. We can increase it. How about 320 million? Yi Bai waved his hand and explained. The manufacturing cost of this vehicle is 100 million. I truly cannot sell it at a loss. However, considering the contributions made during this rescue, It has indeed established a reputation for our Baidun Group. Hence, I do not intend to profit excessively from it. Yi Bai paused, then stated a figure that astonished everyone present. How about this? You give me 360 million. The additional 60 million shall be regarded as my small contribution to our Dragon Nation's civil aviation sector. This statement was impeccably crafted, demonstrating that he was not taking advantage of the situation while simultaneously offering the other party a tremendous favor. 360 million. Upon hearing this, the representative from Shenzhen Airport was momentarily taken aback, then filled with elation. This price was far below their expectations. Deal. Mr. Yi, let us proceed as you suggested. 360 million. We accept. Fearful that Yi Bai might change his mind, he immediately finalized the agreement. Thus, a monumental transaction amounting to 360 million was concluded in front of all witnesses. After deducting the 100 million manufacturing cost, Yi Bai netted an impressive 260 million from this project. This sum not only recouped all his previous investments with interest, but also elevated his personal wealth to an unprecedented and astonishing height. Moreover, this was merely the financial reward. The immense prestige, connections, and official recognition stemming from this incident held value beyond monetary measure. As the 360 million flowed into the Baidun Group's account, the long-awaited, ethereal sound of the system notification echoed in Yi Bai's mind. Ding! Detected that the host has successfully modified and upgraded 10 D-class technological creations. System upgrade conditions have been met. System is upgrading. Upgrade progress, 105-0100. Ding! System upgrade successful. Congratulations to the host. You have gained C-class technological creation modification and upgrade authority. Congratulations to the host. You have received a system upgrade gift pack. Free attribute points X20. It has arrived. Yi Bai's heart surged with joy. He stifled his excitement and found a secluded corner, immediately immersing himself in the system panel. System. Distribute the 20 free attribute points evenly. Received. Allocating attribute points for the host. The moment the attribute points were allocated, an indescribable, warm, and powerful current surged through his entire being. His bones became more resilient. His muscles brimmed with greater explosive power. The speed of neural transmission reached an astonishing level. Yi Bai felt as if he had undergone a complete transformation. It was as though he had broken free from an invisible shackle, transcending to a higher plane of existence. He slowly raised his right hand, clenched his fist, and then casually threw a punch into the air. Whoosh! Accompanied by a sharp sound reminiscent of fabric tearing. A visible white shockwave erupted in front of his fist. With a mere casual punch, he could produce a sound that pierced the air. Is this the enhancement brought by C-class authority? Yi Bai marveled at the surging power within him, feeling an immense shock. From this moment on, he was no longer an ordinary human, and this was merely the acquisition of C-class authority. He dared not imagine how terrifying his body would be strengthened upon attaining B-class, A-class, or even S-class modification permissions. Eternal life? Transcending flesh? Perhaps, as a mortal, standing shoulder to shoulder with the divine? In a future where technology continually escalates, it seems that anything is possible. Chapter 269. Undertaking new projects, modifying the SMPT flatbed. Just as Yi Bai was still immersed in the joy of his tremendous enhancement in physical capabilities, a strange, encrypted call from the Central Military District came through. Is this Comrade Yi Bai? A commanding voice, full of authority, resonated from the other end of the line. Yes, it is. Hello. I am Nie Rong from the Central Military District. The commander of the Central Military District? Yi Bai's heart skipped a beat. He had not expected to hear from such a high-ranking official. Since their last meeting, there had been no further contact. Commander Nie, how may I assist you? It is as follows. Commander Nie spoke directly and without preamble. I am reaching out to you on behalf of the Long Institute, wishing to invite you to undertake a specialized transportation project. The Long Institute's project? Yi Bai inquired, intrigued. What is it about? It involves the transportation of a propane and propylene separation tower. A propane and propylene separation tower? Yi Bai felt somewhat unfamiliar with this term laden with chemical jargon. What exactly is it? On the other end of the line, Commander Nie seemed to have anticipated his question, patiently elucidating. You can perceive it as an oversized distillation tower used in the petrochemical industry. Its function is to achieve the high-purity separation of propane and propylene, two substances with strikingly similar chemical properties. This technology is exceedingly challenging and has long been recognized by the American journal Nature as one of the 7 critical chemical separation challenges. It is also a core technology where our nation has been constrained by the West in the petrochemical realm. However, just recently, Our experts at the Long Institute have successfully overcome this conundrum. Furthermore, we have manufactured our nation's first propane and propylene separation tower. Upon hearing this, a swell of pride surged within Yi Bai. So what does this have to do with me? He asked. It has significant implications. Commander Nie's tone suddenly grew grave. The issue lies in the transportation. The separation tower we have produced is exceptionally complex and enormous, designed for optimal performance. It boasts over 180 trays and reaches an astonishing height of 138 meters. Its total weight exceeds 2,700 tons. Alarmingly, due to the intricacy of its internal structure, it cannot be disassembled for transport. It must be delivered intact from our manufacturing facility located inland to the coastal petrochemical base thousands of kilometers away. 2,700 tons. Yi Bai gasped in astonishment. This weight far exceeds the carrying limits of any terrestrial transport vehicle on Earth. Indeed, Commander Nie responded with a wry smile. We originally planned to utilize German-imported SMPT self-propelled modular transporters for this task, which are currently the only ground transport vehicles capable of bearing such weight. However, just a few days ago, our limited supply of SMPT transporters suffered a catastrophic failure of their hydraulic power systems during testing for reasons unknown. We consulted German experts, but they were at a loss and stated that the vehicles must be returned to the original manufacturer in Germany for repairs. This back and forth will take at least 6 months. However, our petrochemical base cannot afford such a delay. Thus, upon hearing of your remarkable achievements, the Long Institute thought of you. They hope you can intervene and upgrade our existing, inoperative SMPT transporters, reviving them. To this end, the Long Institute has approved a staggering renovation budget of 300 million. A renovation budget of 300 million? Yi Bai's curiosity was piqued. Yet, he was even more intrigued by the strategic significance of this propane and propylene separation tower that warranted such an investment from the Long Institute. Commander Nie, may I inquire about the specific purpose of this separation tower? Certainly. Commander Nie did not hold back, directly stating, its primary function is to produce high-purity propylene. Propylene is a crucial basic chemical raw material, often referred to as the food of industry. Many items we use in our daily lives, such as plastics, synthetic fibers, and medical materials, rely on it. A nation's propylene output largely represents its level of industrialization. Despite being the largest consumer of propylene globally, our nation's production falls woefully short of meeting domestic demand due to technological setbacks, necessitating extensive imports each year. This dependency hampers us in numerous sectors. However, once our separation tower successfully reaches the coastal petrochemical base and commences production, it will add 900,000 tons of propylene raw materials and hydrogen annually. This figure not only liberates us from foreign reliance, but could also enable us to transition from an importing nation to an exporting one. The implications for our national industrial system are revolutionary. At this juncture, Yi Bai comprehended the gravity of the situation. This was yet another monumental piece of machinery capable of altering the fate of the nation. I understand, Commander Nie, he declared resolutely into the phone. To transport this crucial national apparatus is a mission I, Yi Bai, shall accomplish. The following day, at Commander Nie's invitation, Yi Bai boarded a private plane to a large specialized equipment base located in Penglai, Shandong Province. There, he finally laid eyes on the fabled, inoperative SMPT self-propelled modular transporters. Upon witnessing these colossal steel beasts, he was profoundly awed by their massive size. Within the vast factory, dozens of enormous flat modules resembling shipping containers were quietly stationed. Each module was equipped with numerous pairs of massive tires, meticulously arranged. These modules could be assembled like building blocks, allowing for flexible combinations based on the weight and volume of the cargo. When combined, they could form a super transporter, akin to a terrestrial aircraft carrier, boasting thousands of wheels. This is the SMPT transporter, the base's administrator explained to Yi Bai. Our current task is to reactivate them. Yi Bai nodded in silence, stepping forward to gently touch the vehicle's surface. System, scan the target vehicle. Beep. Initiating vehicle scan. Vehicle name, SMPT self-propelled modular transporter. Vehicle grade, C-class technology creation. Vehicle status, core hydraulic power modules severely damaged, unable to operate. Upon reviewing the system scan results, Yi Bai's heart sank. C-class. It is indeed C-class. He had just acquired C-class modification privileges, expecting to easily manage this project. But he never anticipated that this seemingly clumsy transporter would possess such a high technological grade. Just a hair's breadth away, and he would have been powerless. Fortunately, being merely C-class still lies within the realm of his capabilities. Yi Bai silently rejoiced. though it was a narrow margin, had the vehicle's grade reached B class. He would have had to turn back today. Since it remains within my capability, the situation is manageable. He plunged his consciousness into the second phase laboratory in his mind. System. Initiate reverse engineering analysis on the SMPT transporter. Received. Commencing reverse engineering analysis with Yi Bai's command. The three-dimensional model of the massive SMPT transporter in the virtual laboratory was instantaneously dissected into countless fundamental components. From the chassis and wheels down to the smallest screws and wires, every structure and technical detail was vividly presented in data form before Yi Bai's eyes. After thoroughly comprehending the entire structure and technology of the SMPT transporter, he promptly activated the laboratory's quantum simulation feature, seeking the optimal modification scheme. The conventional upgrade plan merely involved the repair of its hydraulic system. While it could accomplish the task, it lacked the element of awe and was unable to maximize the impact value. A new approach was imperative. Given that what needed to be transported was a colossal entity weighing 2,700 tons, the pressure exerted on the ground would be unprecedentedly immense. Ordinary tires simply could not meet the requirements. Furthermore, the journey spanned over 1,000 kilometers with complex road conditions, rendering a typical wheeled structure inadequately adaptive. If wheels were insufficient, then why not consider legs? Once this idea emerged, it could no longer be contained. He immediately began constructing a brand new model in the virtual laboratory. Ultimately, a modification plan brimming with biopunk aesthetics, named the Sky-Crawling Centipede Multi-Legged All-Terrain Transport Platform, was born from his imagination. Core Modification Plan, Sky-Crawling Centipede, 1,000-legged biopower module. The original wheeled structure is entirely replaced with centipede-like mechanical legs composed of memory metal and polymer bionic muscles. Each pair of mechanical legs possesses independent power units and neural sensors, perfectly simulating the gait of a centipede, thereby evenly distributing the vehicle's weight across thousands of support points, significantly reducing the pressure on the ground. Its formidable terrain adaptability allows it to traverse marshes, mountainous regions, and even vertical cliffs with ease. Impact value, 30 million. Dragon's Vector Jet Module. 16 high-thrust vector jet engines are installed on both sides of the platform. On flat surfaces, they provide substantial auxiliary thrust, elevating the vehicle's maximum speed to 120 km per hour. In the face of insurmountable chasms or obstacles, they also offer temporary vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. Required impact value, 35 million. Tortoise Energy Shield Module. The platform is equipped with the latest plasma energy shield generator. Once activated, it forms an energy shield around the platform capable of withstanding conventional weapon attacks, ensuring the absolute safety of the national treasure during transport. Required impact value, 15 million. As Yi Bai gazed at this extraordinary modification plan, his heart brimmed with excitement. However, upon seeing the total requirement of 80 million impact points, his smile instantly froze. A glance at his meager balance of less than 30 million impact points left him feeling helpless. There was still a shortfall of 50 million. It seemed he needed to devise a way to earn more impact points before embarking on the modification of the Sky-Crawling Centipede. Suddenly, a spark of inspiration ignited within him. The firefighting mech project he had previously initiated should be yielding results by now. Perfect. He decided to return to the Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop, complete the firefighting mech, and gather enough impact points to proceed with his plan. With determination, Yi Bai bid farewell to Commander Nya and set off on his journey back to the Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop. Upon his return, he was greeted by a long mist aroma of delicious food. Following the scent, he entered the kitchen of the living quarters and was astonished to witness a heartwarming scene. His mother, Lin Shuxue, was joyfully engaged in cooking alongside Sun Ling and Zhang Hongying. "Mom, what brings you here?" Yi Bai exclaimed, both surprised and delighted. "Little brat, you finally decided to come back," Lin Shuxue exclaimed, immediately setting down the spatula upon seeing her son. "You'll be heading to the capital for university in a few days. As your mother, how could I not come to send you off? Besides, you've been so busy outside that you've lost weight. Today, I must make sure to replenish you." As she spoke, she seemed to remember something and quickly corrected herself. No, I meant to say that you should enjoy a meal made by your mother before heading to school." Yi Bai's eyes sparkled with anticipation. His mother's culinary skills were nothing short of extraordinary. Even when compared to Michelin-starred chefs, they were equally impressive. Soon, a feast of visually appealing and mouth-watering dishes was laid out on the table. Steamed deer antler, stir-fried lamb kidneys, garlic oysters, braised pig trotters, and oil-braised shrimp. A veritable banquet. Yi Bai wasted no time in devouring the delicious spread, savoring every bite. He couldn't help but marvel at how impeccable his mother-esque cooking remained. After a whirlwind of consumption, Yi Bai leaned back, satisfied, feeling revitalized. However, he soon sensed something amiss. The blood coursing through his veins felt as if it were boiling. Waves of heat surged through his limbs, leaving him feeling feverish and parched. "Mom, did you add something special to the dishes?" Yi Bai inquired, glancing at his mother, who wore a mysteriously amused expression. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Lin Chuxue retorted, giving him a playful glare. "You're young, full of vitality. Isn't that perfectly normal? All right, you youngsters continue your conversation. I won't disturb you." With that, she pulled a bewildered Zhang Hongying out of the room, closing the door behind them, leaving Yi Bai and Sun Ling to exchange glances in the room. Outside, Lin Chuxue didn't genuinely leave. Instead, she and Zhang Hongying stealthily hid nearby. Zhang Hongying felt her face flush with embarrassment and her heart raced from the situation. "Isn't this a bit inappropriate?" "Shoo, don't say a word." Lin Chuxue made a gesture for silence, her expression filled with intrigue as she listened to the sounds within. "Goodness, my son is quite impressive. The commotion is far more intense than his father's back in the day." Time passed second by second. Outside the door, Zhang Hongying, listening to the seemingly endless sounds that flushed her cheeks, felt her blood nearly boiling. From initial shyness and awkwardness to later shock and numbness, she eventually found herself grappling with a vague sense of envy and jealousy. Meanwhile, Lin Chuxue maintained an excited expression, occasionally exclaiming in astonishment. Finally, after a span of 6 hours, the sounds within the room gradually subsided. "At last, it's over," Lin Chuxue mused, her lips still tinged with lingering delight as she gently pushed open the door. Inside, chaos reigned. Her beloved son, Yi Bai, lay sprawled on the bed, fast asleep, while Sun Ling curled up on the carpet, trembling as if she were in tears. Seeing this scene, Lin Chuxue's heart sank. "Oh no, I hope I didn't overdo it and break this lovely girl." She hurried over, gently lifting Sun Ling. "Good girl, don't cry, don't cry. It's my fault for not knowing that Brad had become so unrestrained. It's all my fault. I've put you through so much." Unexpectedly, upon hearing her words of comfort, Sun Ling slowly raised her head. "No, it's not your fault," she sniffed, her voice hoarse. "In fact, I couldn't even last 30 minutes. The rest of that 5 hours." Lin Chuxue was taken aback. "What? You mean to say you didn't even last that long?" Sun Ling's face flushed a deep crimson, brighter than the dawn. I couldn't keep up." Her voice trailed off, filled with an air of grievance. Sun Ling gently caressed her round belly, pouting her lips in a manner that was both pitiful and endearing. Lin Chuxue was left utterly dumbfounded. How could this be possible? Even someone as seasoned as Lin Chuxue, who had encountered countless situations, found herself completely taken aback at that moment, staring at the woeful expression of Sun Ling, who resembled a flower drenched in rain. She instinctively turned to glance at the culprit still sound asleep on the bed, drooling slightly. A tempest of emotions surged within her heart. Good heavens! Her son was no longer just a simple powerhouse. He had transformed into a tireless, walking dragon clad in human skin. In comparison, her husband Yi Nantian, who had once been a standout among his peers, now seemed like a firefly vying for brilliance against the full moon, entirely incomparable. Clearly, one was far from sufficient. Observing Sun Ling's pitiful demeanor, Lin Chuxue couldn't help but feel a sincere wave of sympathy. Her gaze instinctively shifted back to the still, slumbering Yi Bai, as her eyes inadvertently swept over his pants. Her beautiful eyes widened in shock. Her pupils constricted sharply, and it felt as though her breath had halted. What had she just seen? She gasped, her heart echoing with a singular thought. This was truly terrifying. At that moment, Yi Bai seemed to sense her gaze, slowly turning over while mumbling incoherently in his sleep. Upon witnessing this, Lin Chuxue dared not linger for even a second longer. She swiftly pulled the still dazed Sun Ling along, fleeing the room without a backward glance. After a while, Yi Bai finally emerged from his deep slumber, finding the room empty and surveying the chaotic scene before him. Memories of the wild and absurd events from the previous night flooded back, leaving him overwhelmed with guilt. Exiting the room, he spotted Sun Ling sitting on the living room sofa, her gaze somewhat vacant. Approaching her, he gently embraced her from behind. "Linger, I'm sorry," he murmured, burying his head in her silky hair. "I'm fine," Sun Ling replied, her body trembling slightly as she turned to meet Yi Bai's apologetic gaze. A blush blooming on her cheeks. Biting her lip, she declared with unwavering resolve, "I was simply too weak. Rest assured, I will work hard to strengthen myself. I will not hold you back any longer." Seeing her earnestness, as if she were making a solemn vow, Yi Bai felt a mix of amusement and tenderness. He leaned down and placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. Meanwhile, at the kitchen entrance, Zhang Hongying, who had just mustered the courage to face Yi Bai, happened upon this tender scene. Watching the affectionate embrace, a wave of bittersweet envy washed over her. She too longed for a kiss from Yi Bai. Alas, she resigned herself to wait a little longer, as she still had to endure 9 more months. After sharing a moment of warmth, Yi Bai immediately turned his focus to business. He sought out Zhang Hongying to assist in liaising with the fire department of Tianjing City, discussing collaboration on the development and production of firefighting mechs. Firefighting mechs? Huang Bo, the director of the Tianjing Fire Department, was taken aback upon receiving Zhang Hongying's call and hearing her proposal. Initially, he dismissed it as a scam. However, upon seeing the note indicating Yunxiao Auto Repair Factory, his attitude did a complete about-face. To collaborate with us? That would be fantastic, he exclaimed excitedly over the phone. However, I must be frank. The factories under our fire department have limited technical capabilities. I'm afraid they may lack the capacity to produce the high-tech firefighting mechs designed by Boss Yi. But I can help you connect with the military's armaments factory. Their technical prowess is undoubtedly among the best in the nation. If they are willing to cooperate, they will surely be able to create what you need. That sounds acceptable, Yi Bai replied, naturally in agreement. With Director Huang's facilitation, the process went exceptionally smoothly. Upon learning that this was Yi Bai's project, the military's armaments factory wasted no time, mobilizing their top engineers and most advanced production lines to fully cooperate. Within just 3 days, the first prototype of the sci-fi-inspired firefighting mech officially rolled off the assembly line at the military factory. Chapter 272. What? The firefighting mech is really here. As this colossal machine was transported to Yunxiao Auto Repair Factory, Yi Bai was surprised to find that a major general from the Central Military District had accompanied the delivery. Comrade Yi Bai, greetings. I am Su Zhenghua from the Equipment Department of the Central Military District. The visitor appeared to be in his 40s, tall and commanding, with sharp eyes. He wasted no time and directed his intense gaze at the imposing firefighting mech freshly unloaded from the transport vehicle. Our military experts, after evaluating the mech you designed, unanimously agree that its combat capabilities are extraordinary. Therefore, I would like to inquire on behalf of the military whether this mech could be repurposed for military use. Yi Bai was momentarily taken aback. Not this again, he thought, recalling how the cunning Long Hantian had frequently sought to appropriate his technology. Now, it seemed that Major General Su had taken up the mantle. Military use? Well, it can be done, but it must first ensure priority supply for the fire department. We cannot compromise its application in firefighting to meet military demands. That is not an issue. Major General Su responded eagerly, fully agreeing. This is something we can absolutely guarantee. Given that, Major General Su, why don't you stay and watch the live test of the mech with me? Yi Bai suggested with a smile, noting his impatient demeanor. That would be splendid. That evening, Yi Bai once again commenced a live broadcast. As soon as the stream opened, countless fans flooded in. Yi God, you're finally back online. Wow, it feels like ages since we last saw you. Amidst the chatter, the camera slowly panned to the vast, transformed workshop of the auto repair factory. In the center stood a towering mech, 3 meters tall, resplendent in fiery red and exuding a metallic aura of strength. Its imposing form was equipped with a variety of dazzling firefighting tools previously showcased by Yi Bai during his streams. Everything had been seamlessly integrated into this magnificent mech. At that moment, the entire live chat erupted in excitement. Oh my goodness. Oh, how could he have actually created the firefighting mech in such a short time? Is this a Gundam? It's absolutely stunning. So cool. Ye God. Forever the God. All viewers were thoroughly mesmerized by the awe-inspiring spectacle before them. All right, dear friends, the moment of witnessing a miracle has arrived. Yi Bai stood before the majestic firefighting mech, smiling mysteriously at the live camera. Clearing his throat, he adopted a dramatic tone and proclaimed loudly, "Mech, activate." Virum. As his voice faded, the previously silent red mech suddenly illuminated with 2 dazzling blue beams from its eyes. Soon after, to the astonishment of all present, the heavy armor on the mech's chest gradually slid apart, revealing a cockpit brimming with futuristic technology, just large enough to accommodate an adult. Wow, is it voice-activated? How advanced? Oh my goodness, this is exactly what I dreamed of as a child. I am utterly envious. I could cry. The viewers in the live stream, witnessing this scene reminiscent of a science fiction film, erupted into excited cheers. Yi Bai snapped his fingers at the camera and, with a graceful somersault, landed firmly inside the cockpit. As he settled in, the cockpit door slowly closed once more. The live stream then seamlessly transitioned to dual perspectives, The external view of the imposing red mech and the internal view showcasing a panoramic screen filled with futuristic visuals, offering a complete 360-degree view of the surroundings, adorned with a multitude of dizzying data. Cool. This is absolutely amazing. This first-person perspective feels like a VR game. Ye God. Hurry, make it move. Make it move. Under the urging of millions of viewers, Yi Bai smiled slightly, positioning his hands on the cockpit's control sticks and his feet on the pedals below. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. In the next moment, he forcefully pushed the control stick forward. Boom. The 3-meter-tall red mech trembled as its heavy, alloy-crafted right foot slowly lifted. It then took a powerful step forward. Thud. A thunderous sound echoed throughout the factory, causing even the solid concrete floor to quiver slightly at that moment. The unparalleled metallic heaviness resonated through the screen and sound, reaching every viewer watching the live stream, making their hearts skip a beat. It moved. It truly moved. Yi Bai maneuvered the mech, beginning to walk slowly within the vast factory space. Each motion appeared exceedingly fluid, devoid of any stutters or delays. After familiarizing himself with the mech's walking pattern, Yi Bai began to attempt more complex maneuvers. He raised the right arm of the mech, clenched his fist, and swung it forcefully into the air. Whoosh! Accompanied by a sharp sound that sliced through the air, the colossal alloy fist struck with tremendous force. The explosive impact sent adrenaline surging through all viewers, as if they could feel the terrifying power capable of obliterating anything contained within that punch. Incredible. This is absolutely incredible. The movement, the texture, the impact. It's indistinguishable from the mechs in movies. No, it's even more real and shocking. I declare, from this day forth, Ye God is my sole idol. Who agrees? Who disagrees? Every viewer was utterly captivated by the unparalleled charm exhibited by the mech. After showcasing the mech's impressive capabilities, Yi Bai did not pause. Everyone, this was merely an appetizer. The true measure of a mech lies not in its aesthetics, but in its practicality during real combat. He guided the mech outside to an open area that had been meticulously arranged with construction debris and discarded concrete to simulate a post-disaster collapse. In authentic fire or earthquake rescue scenarios, survivors are often buried beneath tons of rubble. Traditional rescue methods rely on human labor, utilizing cutting tools and drills to painstakingly excavate debris. This process is slow and labor-intensive. Oftentimes, even if we detect life signals, by the time we manage to clear a rescue path, those trapped may have succumbed to despair or physical exhaustion. But today, the Fire Golden Warrior will fundamentally change all that. With that, he thrust forward, pushing the control stick. Boom! The red mech took heavy strides, charging directly into the burning ruins without hesitation. Its armor, crafted from a special heat-resistant alloy, glowed red under the searing flames, but showed no signs of damage. This scene left all viewers in awe. Did it just walk into the fire? Is this mech not afraid of flames? As the audience remained stunned, an even more astounding spectacle unfolded. The mech approached a massive concrete slab weighing several tons. It extended its colossal alloy hands, gripping the edges of the slab. Buzz! With a powerful hydraulic sound, the mech's arms, no, its hydraulic systems, intensified. Creak! Amidst the agonizing sound of steel being forcibly torn apart, the enormous slab, capable of crushing a small car, was effortlessly lifted by the mech. Then, as if tossing aside a mere brick, it flung the slab aside. Crash! The slab hit the ground, sending dust soaring into the air. The entire live stream fell into a stunned silence. Everyone was utterly shaken by the scene before them. Was this still rescue? It was sheer demolition. And this was merely the beginning. The red mech, like an unyielding and immensely powerful superworker, commenced its daunting task of clearing debris amidst the fiery ruins. With relentless efficiency, it began to remove massive, heavy concrete remnants as if they were mere polystyrene foam, tossing them aside with ease. What would take traditional rescue teams hours, even days, to clear, was accomplished in less than 5 minutes by the mech. Its massive form emerged from the fire and smoke, resembling an invincible iron deity rising from the inferno. The viewers were left speechless, their minds blank, as they watched the red mech obliterate the rubble with an almost crushing, unreasonable force. Of course, being a competent firefighting mech requires more than mere strength. After thoroughly clearing the debris, Yi Bai did not halt his demonstration. He maneuvered the mech to open a hidden compartment located in its abdomen. Within the confines of the cabin, there lay a compact medical emergency platform. This platform was equipped with a heart rate monitor, a portable ventilator, an automatic injector, and an array of medical supplies for urgent hemorrhage control and bandaging. In traditional rescue missions, many injured individuals, after being extricated from the rubble, often succumb to deteriorating conditions due to the lack of timely and professional medical intervention, leading to further complications or even death. However, our mech integrates a miniature medical emergency station within its structure. It can perform initial vital signs assessments and urgent care for the rescued individuals, thus securing the most invaluable golden hour for subsequent professional medical assistance. Observing the diminutive yet comprehensive medical platform nestled in the mech's abdomen, the viewers in the live stream erupted with astonishment. This is incredibly well thought out. This is essentially a mobile, enhanced firefighter. No, it's far more formidable than that. Amazing. With this, our firefighters in the Dragon Kingdom will no longer have to risk their lives to save people from the blaze. Moreover, an even greater number of spectators were utterly captivated by the unparalleled charm of this mech. After all, this is a mech, a quintessential embodiment of the most primitive and purest form of romance ingrained in the DNA of every man since childhood. I don't care. I just want to know, is this mech for sale? How much for one? I would sell everything to acquire one. Exactly. Leaf God, please provide the link. I want to buy it. I want to drive it to work. You're thinking too small. If I had this, I'd pick up my kids from school every day. Let us see who would dare bully my son. Watching the fervent barrage of comments in the live stream, Yibai chuckled and shook his head. Ladies and gentlemen, this mech is not for sale. It will be mass-produced and prioritized for our most honorable firefighters in the Dragon Kingdom. However, Yibai then shifted his tone and unveiled another monumental revelation. Beyond firefighting and rescue operations, it possesses a hidden function, earthquake detection. Within this mech, we have installed the world's most advanced, self-developed infrasonic geological activity monitoring device. It can monitor minute tectonic movements in real time and, through big data analysis, accurately predict potential earthquakes within the next 24 hours. Moreover, each mech is linked to our nation's satellite network. Once any area is detected with a potential for seismic activity, it will immediately relay warning information to the National Earthquake Bureau and local government departments, thereby granting the populace in the affected zones the most precious time to evacuate. Earthquake detection, a 24-hour advance warning. When Yibai announced this feature, the entire live stream erupted. Are you serious? It can predict earthquakes. This must be a tall tale. If true, Yi-God is not just a deity, but a god. Exactly. If earthquakes can be predicted, what is the point of the Earthquake Bureau? In response to the skepticism of online viewers, Yibai merely smiled mysteriously, offering no further explanation. For actions speak louder than words. Just then, the atmosphere in the live stream shifted dramatically. Countless bold, crimson comments flooded the screen like a flurry of snowflakes. Host, look. Red alert. Your mech screen is flashing red. Oh my, it really is flashing red. What is going on? Could it be that what Yi-God said is true? Is there really an impending earthquake? Red alert. Upon hearing this, Yibai felt a jolt of surprise. He swiftly directed his gaze towards the massive panoramic screen in the cockpit. In the upper right corner, a green globe icon, previously indicating safety, had indeed transformed into a glaring blood red, signaling the highest level of alarm. It flickered at an alarming frequency. A clear geographical coordinate circled in red appeared beneath the icon. Alert! Alert! Detected target area, Guangdong Province, Qin City, Bei County, with unusually intense tectonic activity. A magnitude 6.8 earthquake is expected to occur within 10 minutes. Host, please take immediate action. The system's alarm and the mech's alert resonated simultaneously throughout the cockpit. Yibai's mind buzzed with urgency. Meanwhile, in Guangdong Province, Qin City, Bei County, a remote and impoverished mountainous town, a deafening roar echoed like a dragon awakening, as the very earth trembled violently. Landslides ensued. Countless buildings collapsed amid the fierce shaking. The only Hope Primary School in the town center was not spared. The dilapidated 3-story teaching building was reduced to rubble within mere seconds. Over 100 children in class, alongside their teachers, were buried beneath the heavy debris. Quick, save them. My child is still inside. After the tremors subsided, frantic parents, regaining their composure, rushed toward the wreckage, desperately attempting to unearth the heavy stones with their bare hands. A young female teacher, witnessing the apocalyptic scene and hearing the faint cries for help from beneath the ruins, could no longer contain her anguish and despair, collapsing to the ground in tears. With bloodied hands, she frantically clawed at the stones, repeatedly calling out her students' names. The elderly principal, observing the horrific sight, wept bitterly, tears streaking down his weathered face as he shakily retrieved his battered old phone from his pocket to dial for help. Hello? Is this the city? Bay County has experienced an earthquake. The school has collapsed. The children are trapped beneath. Please, I beg you, come and save them. What? An earthquake in Bay County. Upon receiving the desperate call for help from Bay County, the city's secretary leapt from his seat in shock. He immediately activated the highest-level emergency response plan, mobilizing all firefighting, medical, and armed police resources to form the first rescue team, racing toward Bay County. However, when the advance team finally arrived at the outskirts of Bay County, they were utterly stymied by the sight before them. The sole winding road leading to the mountainous region of Bay County was completely blocked by landslides triggered by the earthquake. Enormous boulders, weighing dozens or even hundreds of tons, lay strewn across the road. Report to command. The road is completely blocked. We cannot proceed. Requesting heavy machinery for support. Repeat. Requesting heavy machinery for support. Soon. The response from Chin City was disheartening. We simply do not have the capability to clear such a massive landslide in a short time. With our current equipment, it will take at least 3 days to excavate this road. 3 days. Just to clear the road would take 3 days. And to reach the center of Bay County from here would require over a day's time. Altogether, that amounts to a full 4 days. 4 full days. The children buried beneath the rubble, already weakened by long-term malnutrition due to poverty, how could they possibly endure for over 4 days in an environment devoid of water, food, and even oxygen? By the time the rescue teams arrived, they would likely find nothing but cold, lifeless bodies. This brutal reality plunged all present rescue personnel into profound despair. In a state of helplessness, the city of Chin could only place a call for assistance to the provincial capital, Guangdong, pleading for support from the entire province. The news quickly spread throughout Guangdong province. Upon receiving this alarming message, Jin Yang, the secretary of the Huadu Municipal Committee, immediately envisioned a person, Yi Bai. Perhaps only he could perform a miracle now. Without hesitation, he dialed Yi Bai's number. At that moment, Yi Bai was engaged in a live broadcast. Upon receiving Jin Yang's urgent call and learning of the calamity in Beixian County, he immediately agreed to help. Turning to the camera with a solemn expression, he addressed his audience. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have just witnessed, a powerful earthquake measuring 6.8 has struck Beixian County in Chin City. Over 100 children are trapped beneath the ruins of their school, their fates uncertain. I will immediately pilot my mech to the disaster area for rescue. Destination, Chin City, Beixian County. Let us embark on this mission to save lives. Chapter 275, 300,000 viewers. A 1,000-mile rescue. With Yi Bai's command, the iron doors of the workshop slowly opened. The towering flame titan, 3 meters tall and radiating a fiery red hue, emerged before millions of eager viewers. This time, its destination was not a simulated training ground, but the real disaster site hundreds of kilometers away, where lives were hanging in the balance. The heavy metallic footsteps echoed, resonating with the hearts of all who watched. Go, Yi God. You must save the children. We await your triumphant return. Yi Bai chose not to engage with the live chat, yet countless viewers remained, eager to witness this unprecedented race against death. As the news spread, an increasing number of people flocked to Yi Bai's live stream. The viewership surged past 300,000 and continued to grow at an alarming rate. After several hours of rapid travel, the Flame Titan reached the outskirts of Beixian County. However, the sight before them plunged every heart into despair. The only winding mountain road into the disaster zone was completely blocked by massive boulders. Countless rescue workers and local citizens were gathered here. Some were desperately digging through the rubble with shovels and pickaxes, while others attempted to move smaller stones with crowbars. Even Zhou Jiangwo, the county secretary, had joined the effort. His hands bloodied and blistered, yet he continued to dig mechanically, oblivious to the pain. Everyone knew that every passing second meant a greater chance of survival for the children beneath the debris. Yet, human strength was ultimately limited. Faced with the mountain of rubble, despair filled their hearts. At their current pace, clearing a path would take at least a day. Just then, a thunderous roar of engines erupted from behind them. They instinctively turned to see an unforgettable sight. A colossal red mech, resembling a deity descending from the heavens, approached them. Before they could fully process their astonishment, even more incredible events unfolded. The mech unfurled 2 massive wings from its back, followed by 16 powerful vector jet engines simultaneously igniting with brilliant blue plasma flames. Amidst a powerful gust capable of blowing everything away, the multi-ton steel behemoth gradually lifted off the ground, soaring over the wall of boulders and deep into the disaster zone. Had it truly taken flight? Zhou Jiangwo stood frozen, gazing at the receding red figure in the sky, utterly dumbfounded. The viewers in the live stream, after a brief moment of shock, began to voice their bewilderment. Wait, it can fly? Incredible. Is this mech truly multifunctional? Hold on. Why isn't Yi-Bai just clearing the stones to help the rescue teams get through? As the questions rolled in the chat, Yi-Bai addressed them. It's not that I'm unwilling to clear the path. Rather, I believe that instead of wasting precious time on the rubble, it is more vital to rescue those trapped. Saving lives is the utmost priority. Once I have rescued the children, I can return to clear the obstacles. The viewers suddenly understood. Right. Saving lives is crucial. I was hasty. I apologize to Yi-Bai. Yi-Bai's reasoning is clear. Amazing. After a brief flight, the Flame Titan finally hovered above the Hope Primary School, now a mere wreck. As he gazed upon the devastating scene and heard the faint, desperate cries from beneath the rubble, Yi-Bai's heart tightened. Without hesitation, he activated the mech's life detection system. Infrared life scan. Initiate. X-ray vision scan. Activate. With his command, the mech's eyes emitted two invisible, high-intensity scanning beams, penetrating the heavy concrete debris and revealing the scene beneath on the panoramic screen in the cockpit. Small figures, emitting weak red lights, appeared in every corner of the screen, signifying life. However, just as Yi-Bai prepared to initiate the rescue based on the scan results, discordant voices emerged in the live stream's chat. Wait, are you using X-rays? That's harmful radiation. Exactly. Those children are so small. What if they suffer after effects from such a high dose of X-rays, even if you rescue them? This is highly irresponsible. Why not just dig them out one by one instead of taking shortcuts? Seeing these self-righteous comments, Yi-Bai's anger ignited. I want to ask you, those of you who stand here criticizing, what time is it now? We are in a critical moment of life and death. Those children are on the brink of losing their lives. And you dare discuss the trivial matter of potential radiation harm. What is more important? Their lives or your unfounded concerns about after effects? Get this straight. I am here to save lives, not to host a banquet. Those who do not wish to watch, kindly exit the live stream. Your presence is a nuisance. Yi-Bai's roar reverberated throughout the entire streaming room. All viewers were momentarily stunned by his unexpected outburst. After a brief silence, the chat was soon inundated with a myriad of powerful and affirming comments. Such dominance. Yi Shun is incredible. Well said. This is how it should be. These self-righteous individuals always thrive on chaos. Support Yi Shun. In emergencies, urgent measures are necessary. Those who complain should leave. Chapter 276. Tears of the Mountain Children. Heroes truly will come. After silencing the self-righteous critics in the streaming room, Yi-Bai immediately redirected all his focus to the rescue efforts at hand. Through the X-ray scan, he could clearly discern the scene beneath the rubble. Some were trapped with their legs pinned under collapsed precast slabs, unable to move. Others were stuck beneath desks, surrounded by precarious debris, at risk of secondary collapses. There were those who had succumbed to unconsciousness due to oxygen deprivation and excessive blood loss. Their vital signs were rapidly declining. The situation was even more dire than he had anticipated. At this moment, time was of the essence. Rescue mode. Activate. Without a moment's hesitation, Yi-Bai engaged the mech's most powerful mode. Boom. The Crimson mech once again displayed its terrifying strength, akin to a mountain's might. Its colossal metallic hands, like two indomitable pincers, precisely and forcefully plunged into the debris. Then, with a swift upward motion, creak, accompanied by a spine-chilling sound of metal distortion, a massive beam, weighing over 10 tons and crushing several children, was forcibly snapped and tossed aside. Beneath the rubble, in a cramped space precariously supported by a few desks, a group of surviving children huddled together, trembling. The sudden earthquake and the encompassing darkness had filled their young hearts with terror. Wah, I want my mom. I want to go home. Teacher, I'm scared. Are we going to die? The children's cries echoed in despair, saturating the small space with hopelessness. Classmates, do not fear. Please, do not fear. A young male teacher, his back bloodied and battered from the debris, braced himself against a precariously balanced slab above. He endured the excruciating pain, mustering every ounce of strength to reassure the frightened children. Everyone believe. We will be all right. Those outside are surely finding ways to rescue us. Heroes will come to save us. Though his voice was hoarse from weakness, it resonated with conviction. Heroes? A little girl with pigtails lifted her dust-covered, tear-streaked face and asked in a tender voice, will they be like the heroes on TV, piloting mechs? Will they be armored warriors? Upon hearing this, a faint smile emerged on the male teacher's face. Yes, they will be, they surely will. He was unsure why he spoke thus. Perhaps it was merely a kind lie woven for himself and the children amidst their dire predicament. At such a time, you still indulge in these unrealistic fantasies. A nearby female teacher, also trapped, could not help but voice her discontent. What mech heroes? What armored warriors? They are all lies. We are going to die here. Her words thickened the already suffocating atmosphere of despair. No, that is not true. Heroes are real. The male teacher yelled back, exerting his final reserves of strength. Yet his voice seemed so frail, so powerless against the enveloping darkness of despair. Just then, boom, a deafening noise erupted from above. Following that, the enormous stone slab blocking their light was suddenly lifted by an irresistible, tremendous force. Blinding sunlight streamed in, illuminating the space. All those trapped in darkness instinctively shielded their eyes. As they gradually adjusted to the light and opened their eyes, they beheld an unforgettable sight that would forever alter their worldview. A towering mech, 3 meters tall and radiant in fiery red, stood before them like a deity descended from the heavens. Its colossal form blotted out the sun. Its glowing blue eyes carried an air of majesty. It is a mech. It is an armored warrior. The little girl with pigtails gazed at the steel giant that had descended from the sky. Her eyes that had previously been filled with fear and despair now sparkled with pure hope. Everyone was astonished. The female teacher, who had just been voicing her skepticism, stood with her mouth agape, utterly incredulous. She rubbed her eyes vigorously, suspecting it was a hallucination brought on by oxygen deprivation. Yet the steel beast radiating cold metallic brilliance was undeniably real and vivid. And at that moment, the male teacher, who had steadfastly believed that heroes would arrive, could no longer contain his emotions upon seeing the mech. Tears streamed down his face like a torrential flood, his entire being trembled with excitement. Heroes had truly come. Yi Bai carefully maneuvered the mech, gently extracting the trapped children and teachers from the rubble, placing them in a nearby safe zone. The children, who had just escaped the clutches of death, were not afraid. Instead, they surrounded the blazing mech with admiration and curiosity, chattering excitedly. Over here, come quickly. There is still a child. He is trapped. The male teacher suddenly pointed anxiously at a corner of the rubble, calling out to Yi Bai. Yi Bai immediately directed his gaze in that direction. In a triangular space formed by collapsed walls and bookshelves, a small boy lay motionless, while his upper body was free. His legs were pinned beneath a massive concrete slab. His eyes were tightly shut, clearly in a state of unconsciousness. 2 clear trails of tears adorned his dust-covered face, evidence of his agony before losing consciousness. Yi Bai swiftly maneuvered the mech closer, cautiously lifting the concrete slab off the boy's legs. He then activated the X-ray scan function to examine the condition of his legs. Soon, the scan results appeared on the screen. The boy's slender leg bones had suffered severe, shattering fractures. The viewers who witnessed this scene through the live stream gasped in shock. They were aware that the subsequent rescue teams were still obstructed outside. Chapter 277, The Cloud Sky Mech, born for firefighting and rescue. This is it. This child's life is ruined. Shattering fractures. And on his legs. Given the delay, he must have already developed an infection. Indeed, the rescue team is still blocked from reaching the hospital. Even if this child survives, amputation seems inevitable. Oh my, how tragic. How old is he? Despair spread like wildfire throughout the streaming room. Countless viewers felt a piercing pain for this unknown boy. Yishun, can you think of a way? Can't you fly? Why not take him directly to the hospital? Indeed, flying there would undoubtedly be quicker than waiting for them to clear the road. Observing the eager comments, Yi Bai shook his head and solemnly explained, there is no time. The nearest hospital capable of performing such a surgery is at least an hour away by air. Furthermore, without any stabilization or emergency measures, the violent turbulence of high-altitude flight would only exacerbate his injuries, potentially leading to severe hemorrhaging and immediate death. Therefore, the best course of action is to administer first aid on-site. With that, he promptly activated the medical functions of the armored mech. A low hum resonated as a small emergency medical platform within the mech gently unfolded. Soon after, a silver metal medical box filled with various specialized instruments was steadily lowered to the ground by a mechanical arm. I kindly ask for your assistance. Yi Bai called to the 2 surviving teachers. Upon hearing this, they rushed over immediately. Under Yi Bai's remote guidance, they opened the medical box and retrieved splints, bandages, and antiseptic solutions to begin temporarily wrapping and stabilizing the boy's severely injured leg. Subsequently, Yi Bai maneuvered the mechanical arm to extract an automatic injector filled with adrenaline, administering it to the boy to sustain his already faint life signs. After completing these actions, a foldable stretcher was released from the back of the mech. First, carefully place the child onto the stretcher and take good care of him. I will handle the rest. Yi Bai instructed the group. Once the injured boy was settled, He turned his gaze towards the mountain road blocked by fallen boulders leading to the outside world. Boom. In the next moment, the red mech surged forward with a relentless, destructive force, charging towards the landslide. Thud, thud, thud. The heavy iron fist struck down upon the seemingly indestructible boulders with immense power. The massive alloy arms, akin to an excavator's, recklessly hurled the heavy fallen rocks off the cliff, one by one. In that moment, Yi Bai pushed the mech's capabilities to their utmost limits. What would typically require over 100 people and more than a day's effort to clear was accomplished in merely 3 hours through his brute force. As the last boulder was cast off the cliff, a rugged yet life-sustaining path finally revealed itself to all present. The doctors and nurses, who had been waiting at the other end of the roadblock, rushed in with a stretcher, swiftly transporting the leg-injured boy onto the ambulance, racing towards the hospital. Watching the departing ambulance, Yi Bai and the viewers in the live stream finally exhaled in relief. Several hours later, outside the ICU of Qinshe People's Hospital, the atmosphere felt thick with tension. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Secretary Zhou Zhengwo from Beixian, the 2 surviving teachers, and countless viewers following the rescue via live stream anxiously awaited the outcome from the operating room. At last, with a soft click, the ICU doors slowly swung open. A fatigued lead surgeon clad in green scrubs emerged, shedding his mask and exhaling a long breath. Doctor, how is the child? Secretary Zhou Zhengwo was the first to rush forward, his voice trembling with anxiety. The lead surgeon looked at him, a hint of a smile breaking through his weary expression. The surgery was very successful. The child's leg was saved. Although it was a comminuted fracture, the first aid measures taken prior to arrival were exceptionally performed, very professional and timely. They afforded us the most precious conditions for the subsequent surgery. We have successfully rejoined his bones, and as long as the following rehabilitation is adhered to, it will not impede his normal development and mobility in the future. At these words, a thunderous cheer erupted from everyone present. The 2 teachers embraced each other, tears of joy streaming down their faces. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. His leg was saved. I knew it. Yi Bai would undoubtedly come through. This firefighting mech is absolutely incredible. Not only can it demolish buildings and fly, but it also possesses a mobile ICU. This is truly a miraculous tool for rescue. Just as the crowd reveled in their joy, hurried footsteps echoed from the end of the corridor. Major General Su Jinghua, who had met Yi Bai previously at the Yunshao Auto Repair Factory, appeared, accompanied by armed guards, and hurriedly approached. Upon seeing Yi Bai standing beside the wreckage, he grasped his hand firmly. Comrade Yi Bai, we arrived late. Major General Su's face was filled with excitement. I never expected that while we were still en route, you had already single-handedly averted this disaster. On behalf of the Central Military Region, I extend my highest respect to you. Yi Bai merely smiled modestly. I simply did what I was supposed to do. What you were supposed to do. Major General Su shook his head at this. His gaze turned intensely towards the red mech. No. What you accomplished far exceeds your obligations. I watched your entire live stream. The performance of this mech is truly outstanding. Its mobility, defense, and formidable operational capabilities surpass all our expectations. Comrade Yi Bai, I can confidently say that if it were equipped with our military's most advanced weapon systems, it would undoubtedly become a harbinger of death on the battlefield, instilling terror in all adversaries. Yi Bai remained unresponsive to this, as he had already finalized the terms earlier. Although he had been re-enlisted, he did not feel at a disadvantage. However, before he could speak, a booming and familiar voice suddenly rang out from behind Major General Su. Old Su, your calculations are quite astute. Dragon Hantian strolled leisurely forward, hands clasped behind his back, flanked by several imposing guards. What do you mean by equipping it with your military's most advanced weapon systems? As if this mech already belongs to the Central Military Region. Dragon Hantian approached Major General Su, a sardonic smile on his face. That won't do. Soon, the annual military competition will take place. If your Central Military Region brings this contraption to the field, how will we even compete? Should we take hammers to battle against your mech? Major General Su, facing his old rival, refused to back down. Old Long, that statement is incorrect. This mech was developed by Comrade Yi Bai. We in the Central Military Region merely have a cooperative intent. Besides, there must be a sense of order and precedence, correct? Order and precedence? Dragon Hantian scoffed. I've known Yi Bai for quite some time. When it comes to camaraderie, you must take a step back. Seeing the 2 military leaders on the verge of quarreling over the ownership of the mech, Yi Bai quickly stepped in to mediate. Both of you, please refrain from arguing. This mech belongs to both of you. I promise that under the condition of prioritizing the firefighting department, I can customize a batch of military versions for each of your factions. Upon hearing those words, the expressions of the two generals, who were previously at odds, instantly transformed from tension to relief. Particularly, Long Hantian, with a satisfied smile, patted Yi Bai on the shoulder, his lips curling into a smug grin. Now that sounds more like it. Excellent. Since you've said so, our military district will put down a deposit. He then turned to the guard behind him and commanded, transfer 50 million to Yi Bai's company account. Sensing the momentum, Su Jinghua also chimed in, our central military district requires 50 million as well. Thus, in a matter of minutes, Yi Bai effortlessly secured another 100 million in cash. The speed at which he was making money was astonishing, surpassing even that of a money printer. After placing the orders, Long Hantian seemed to remember something and said to Yi Bai, this year's military competition will officially commence on the last day of the first week after your school starts. I hope you can personally attend and witness how our soldiers of Long Nation should engage in battle. Yi Bai nodded in agreement. No problem. I will definitely be there. The two military titans departed, satisfied. After addressing the aftermath of the situation, Yi Bai finally felt a sense of relief. Although the process had been thrilling, the outcome was gratifying. Every child had been successfully rescued. More importantly, the shock value from this operation had finally been credited to him. Finding a secluded corner, he immersed himself in the system. He observed as the numbers representing shock value skyrocketed at an unprecedented, frenzied pace. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have gained shock value. 200,000. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have gained shock value. 250,000. The impact of this live broadcast far surpassed any previous events. This time, he had genuinely acted as a hero, saving countless lives through disaster relief. The societal impact and the astonishment from the public were incomparable to his previous commercial endeavors. Ultimately, when the numbers on the panel ceased to fluctuate, he had amassed a staggering 80 million in shock value from this rescue mission. Indeed, disaster relief was the way to go. Yi Bai gazed at this figure, filled with profound reflections. Only such noble acts of heroism, which truly save lives and turn the tide, can restore people's faith in the existence of heroes in this world. With ample shock value, Yi Bai swiftly redirected his attention back to the task concerning the heavy-duty transport platform from Longkou Institute. Re-entering the system laboratory, he began the final optimization and simulation of the modification plan for the aptly named Sky Centipede multi-legged all-terrain transport platform. Amidst reckless and boundless investment, a more powerful and perfected final proposal came into being in his hands. However, the required shock value surged proportionately, skyrocketing from 80 million to 96 million, an increase of 16 million. The enhancement in performance was undeniably remarkable. The plan was set, yet new challenges arose. The technologies and materials involved in the modification of the Sky Centipede exceeded the scope of the current capabilities at Yunshao Auto Repair Factory. It was clear that he would need to travel to the capital. There, he could truly bring the Sky Centipede to fruition. Moreover, with only 3 days remaining until the start of the new semester at the university, it was time to embark on his journey. With this thought, Yi Bai took out his phone and sent a message to his mother, Lin Shushue. Mom, I'm heading to the capital tomorrow. As soon as the message was sent, Lin Shushue called him immediately, her voice filled with astonishment. What? Leaving tomorrow? So soon? You just came back a few days ago. Why are you leaving again? Hearing his mother's concerned tone, Yi Bai felt a warm surge in his heart. Mom, school is starting soon, and I need to prepare in advance. Besides, there is something very important I must attend to in the capital. What could be more important than spending time with your mother? Lin Shushue feigned anger over the phone. Yi Bai chuckled in response, of course. It's a matter of national pride. The matter concerning the heavy-duty transport platform was classified as a top national secret, so he could only deflect with a half-joking remark. All right, you're always busy with those grand matters. Although Lin Shushue said this, pride brimmed in her tone. What time is your flight tomorrow? I'll come see you off. No need. Mom, Yi Bai quickly replied. I'm taking a private jet this time. I want to be going to the airport. A private jet? Lin Shushue was momentarily taken aback. She recognized that her son had changed immensely, but she had anticipated that he had reached a level where he could travel by private jet. After hanging up, Lin Shushue found herself unable to settle down. Her son was leaving for the capital tomorrow, and she didn't know when they would see each other again. No, I must see him one last time before he leaves. The more she thought about it, the more sense it made. And she quickly got out of bed to rouse her husband, Yi Nantian, who had already fallen asleep beside her. Old Yi, wake up. Don't sleep anymore. What is going on at this hour? Yi Nantian mumbled, still half asleep. Our son is leaving for the capital tomorrow. We need to go see him tonight. Without giving him a chance to protest, Lin Shushua dragged him out of bed. What? No father would run to see their son in the middle of the night. If you want to go, go ahead, but I can't. Yi Nantian was unwilling to comply. Lin Shushua, hearing his words, was filled with indignation and swiftly pinched the soft flesh at his waist, twisting it fiercely. Ouch! Yi Nantian gasped in pain. Are you really trying to reason with me? Lin Shushua chuckled coldly. Then according to the family tree of the Yi family, how can a son rank before his father? Her words struck Yi Nantian's sore spot, rendering him speechless, unable to utter a single rebuttal. In the early hours of the morning, the living area of Yunshao Auto Repair Factory was brightly lit. Yi Bai sat on the sofa, wearing headphones, utterly absorbed in his game. Suddenly, he felt a slight tremor in his body, and then heard a rustling noise coming from under the table. Furrowing his brow, he instinctively looked down and was met with a scene that left him both exasperated and amused. Unbeknownst to him, Sun Ling had quietly crawled beneath the table, gazing up at him with her stunningly beautiful face. Her long, lustrous hair had been skillfully styled into an elegant updo, secured with a hairpin. Her clear, watery eyes sparkled with an indescribable, yearning light. You. Yi Bai removed his headphones, rubbing his temples in frustration. Are you addicted? I don't know. Sun Ling replied, her cheeks flushed with a charming blush, biting her lip and speaking in a barely audible voice. Her appearance was as adorable as a little kitten begging for food, instantly melting Yi Bai's heart. He couldn't help but smile helplessly. Just then, bang. The living room door was suddenly thrust open from the outside. Son. Surprise. Lin Chushua's voice, filled with excitement, echoed throughout the room. Mom and Dad are here. Haha, Dad. Mom, what are you doing here? Yi Bai forcibly suppressed the tumult of emotions within him, forcing a smile that was more painful than tears as he rose from the sofa. While speaking, he subtly shielded the area beneath the table with his legs. What? Aren't you happy to see us? Lin Shushua noticed her son's guilty demeanor, a knowing smile curling at the corners of her lips as she teased him. Beside them, Yi Nantian remained oblivious to the underlying tension, basking in his patriarchal authority, arms crossed, turning his head away haughtily. Humph, I never intended to come. It was your mother who insisted. Yi Bai dared not let them linger on this topic any longer and hurriedly welcomed them inside with warmth. Of course, I'm delighted. How could I not be? I was just caught off guard by the surprise. I intended to spend more time with you both during this visit, but alas. Time is too pressing, and national affairs cannot be ignored. He feigned a sigh of helplessness. Upon hearing this, the gleam of gossip in Lin Chushua's eyes was immediately replaced by concern and reluctance. She lamented, had I known you would leave so soon, I would have stayed home every day this summer to accompany you. Enough, enough, woman's sentiment. Yi Nantian waved his hand dismissively, attempting to impart wisdom from a father's perspective. A good man aims for the world. Let him venture out and gain experience. It's a good thing. As if to assert his authority and magnanimity, he cleared his throat and declared, Son, you needn't worry about us while you're away. Everything at home is under my care. Lin Chushua shot him a glance, too weary to argue, and pulled a sleek, all-black, textured bank card from her bag, placing it in Yi Bai's hands. Son, take this. You'll need money while you're out. Don't deprive yourself. This card has no password. Use it freely. Consider it your allowance from me. Yi Bai stared at the card in his hand, momentarily speechless. However, upon seeing the card's design, Yi Nantian's eyes widened in disbelief, exclaiming, What? A Centurion Black card? He snatched the card from Yi Bai's grasp, examining it with astonishment etched on his face. Dear, have you lost your mind? This is an American Express Centurion card. It allows unlimited overdraft for expenditures up to 100 million. And you are just giving it to him as pocket money? Isn't that a bit excessive? What is wrong with me giving my son what I earn? Lin Shushua replied, casting a cool glance at Yi Nantian, as if regarding an unsophisticated bumpkin who had never encountered wealth. Yi Nantian was left speechless, his face flushed with embarrassment, and he reluctantly returned the card to Yi Bai, retreating to a corner in silence, lost in existential contemplation. Son, what's wrong? Lin Shushua noticed his peculiar demeanor and assumed he was overwhelmed with excitement over the generous allowance. She teased, It's just a card. Why are you so worked up? As she approached, curious to see what her son was up to, her gaze inadvertently fell beneath the table, and her beautiful eyes widened in shock. It felt as if her worldview had been irrevocably shaken. After a brief moment of astonishment, a smile blossomed on her face. Without a word, she rushed over, pulling Yi Nantian, who was still dazed, toward the door. Hey, where are you dragging me off to? Yi Nantian exclaimed in confusion. Hush, our son has grown up. We've arrived at an inopportune moment. Lin Chuxue whispered excitedly as they fled. Yi Nantian paused, then quickly grasped the implication, his face registering shock. After leaving the auto repair shop, Yi Nantian embraced his wife from behind, inhaling deeply. Look how strong our son has become. As a father, I can't fall behind him. His voice carried a hint of hoarseness. Lin Chuxue turned, flashing a mischievous smile. Of course. Huh. Yi Nantian's face morphed into a question mark. He froze for a moment before the realization hit him, and his complexion turned pale. Wait, what? Am I to showcase pig liver? Yi Nantian's expression turned to one of despair. He too wished to experience his son's joy. Why did the atmosphere shift so dramatically for him? Observing his conflicted expression, Lin Chuxue chuckled. Here's the deal. I'll give you a chance. I'm thinking of a 2-digit number. If you can guess it tonight, Yi Nantian gasped. In the dimly lit room of the auto repair shop, only heavy breathing remained. Yi Bai looked at Sun Ling, who had fallen asleep after their exertions, a trace of satisfied tears at the corners of her eyes, feeling a mix of helplessness. He had never anticipated her progress, yet his own strength had surged to unprecedented heights, surpassing previous levels. Yet, despite this, he felt a mounting pressure, akin to a balloon filled to the brink, ready to burst. Sighing, he glanced at a photo of Zhang hanging on the nightstand, a surge of unnameable anger igniting within him. I must wait a few more months. This life is unbearable. Reluctantly, he reached for his phone and dialed another number. Hello? Yi Bai? What brings you to call at this hour? Came Qiao Rian's languid voice from the other end. Sister Rian, are you free right now? Yi Bai asked, feeling a bit shy. Yes, what is up? I was hoping you could do me a favor. 2 hours later, Qiao Rian emerged from the repair shop, looking as if she had just emerged from water, glistening with sweat and gasping for breath. The intelligent sparkle in her beautiful eyes was now replaced with shock and a hint of fear as she regarded Yi Bai, who appeared unaffected by the chaos. Her worldview had been irrevocably altered. Repairing cars is supposed to be exhausting. At that moment, the door swung open again with a loud bang. Jiang Chumo walked in boldly. Yi Bai, I heard you're heading to the capital tomorrow, and her words halted mid-sentence as her gaze fixated on Yi Bai. Hey Yi, how is it you're still single at your age? You should really find a girlfriend. She struggled to suppress her shock, thinking that such occurrences were routine. Yi Bai's face flushed crimson, and he quickly turned away from her. I was just about to take a shower. Who told you to barge in without knocking? With a dismissive scoff, Jiang Chumo remarked on the absurdity of shyness among men. She rolled her eyes and gracefully advanced, her long, slender legs carrying her to his side. With a delicate hand, as fair as jade, she reached around him from behind and seized Yi Bai. We are the best of friends, right? Her voice was laced with a teasing tone. 2 hours later, Jiang Chumo languished on the sofa, rubbing her temples as she berated Yi Bai. Yi Bai? Are you out of your mind? Is this something a human can do? Yi Bai, looking utterly innocent, met her furious gaze with a blank expression. Is it possible that you are the one who's unwell, while I am simply too formidable? How dare you? Jiang Chumo was about to unleash another tirade when she suddenly noticed a flicker of danger in Yi Bai's eyes. In another room, Sun Ling and Xiao Rian, having regained some strength, were chatting on the bed when the sounds of the argument from the living room reached their ears. They exchanged glances, each discerning a hint of bittersweet resignation in the other's smile. The night passed. Yi Bai emerged from the kitchen, rejuvenated and carrying 2 freshly prepared breakfasts. He placed one in front of Jiang Chumo, who sat there, devoid of spirit, as if her very essence had been siphoned away. Have a bite to replenish your energy, he suggested before digging into his own meal. By the way, why did you rush over to find me last night? At his words, Jiang Chumo halted mid-motion, her hand poised to grasp the milk. A tumultuous wave surged within her stomach, prompting a dry heave. Don't talk to me. Just seeing your face makes me nauseous, she retorted weakly. Yi Bai couldn't help but chuckle. It was amusing to think that the bottle of girl's joy was completely emptied by her, and now she claimed to feel ill. Ridiculous. Oh, Yi Bai feigned surprise, bending down as if to retrieve something. Where did my belt go? In the midst of his antics, the towel that had been wrapped around his waist slipped away. Jiang Chumo's eyes widened in disbelief. Unable to contain herself, she shrieked, Yi Bai, you beast. Like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey, she leaped from the sofa and tackled him to the ground. This is revenge. Pure and simple revenge. Biting his chest, she declared, today, I will make you a proper man. 2 hours later, Jiang Chumo lay sprawled on the carpet, utterly spent. Her gaze vacant, as if she were staring at the gates of paradise. Yi Bai crouched beside her, poking her limp arm with a finger, grinning as he asked, Are you convinced now? I am not, she gasped, summoning the last of her strength. I must not have trained hard enough in fitness and yoga. When I return, I'll buy 10 annual memberships. I will practice daily. One day, I will show you who the true queen is. Yi Bai laughed at her determination. All right, stop being stubborn. He pulled her up from the carpet and settled her back onto the sofa. Now, tell me, what was your purpose in visiting me yesterday? With a huff, Jiang Chumo shot him a glare, but eventually revealed her intentions. It's because our collaboration on that mini has been selling remarkably well in Huadu. I intend to capitalize on this success and establish a branch factory in the capital. Though the capital is the heart of Longhua, the living costs are exorbitant. For ordinary workers, commuting via subway or bus is exhausting and time-consuming. Taxis are too expensive, and buying a car is impractical. Thus, our affordable and high-quality mini has infinite market potential in the capital. As she spoke of her business aspirations, her eyes sparkled with renewed vigor, as if the drained, lifeless person from earlier had been replaced entirely. Yi Bai nodded, acknowledging her keen business acumen. What do you think, Yi the great boss? Are you interested in investing further and expanding this business venture? Jiang Chumo gazed at him with eager anticipation. Yi Bai shook his head. I don't have that much money. No money. Jiang Chumo stared at him incredulously, as if he were an alien. Yi Bai, are you joking? Do you know how many units of spicy fish head have been sold since its launch? Yi Bai shook his head in confusion. Jiang Chumo, exasperated, waved 3 fingers in front of him. A total of 300,000 units. After deducting all costs and taxes, your share of pure profit in cash is 300 to 400 million. The moment he heard the staggering figure, Yi Bai, accustomed to the ups and downs of life, was left utterly speechless, his mind nearly short-circuiting. 300 to 400 million. Cash. Am I now a billionaire? Seeing his astonished expression, Jiang Chumo beamed with a sense of triumph. Indeed, the hardest part of making money is the initial accumulation from 0 to 100,000. Once you surpass that threshold, earning becomes progressively easier. So, Yi the wealthy, do you still believe you lack the funds to invest in building a factory? Yi Bai inhaled deeply, finally coming to terms with this shocking reality. He gazed at Jiang Chumo with a wry smile, realizing that despite his hard work in live streaming and research, he had earned less than what she casually made through her side business. How could he justify that? Fine. Accepting this harsh truth, Yi Bai nodded decisively. I knew you would agree. Jiang Chumo's face radiated victory. She retrieved a pre-prepared contract for the joint factory in the capital and presented it to him. Now sign here. Yi, the major shareholder. Yi Bai skimmed the contract before signing it flamboyantly. All done. A pleasant collaboration. Jiang Chumo, satisfied, tucked away the contract. Now that we've signed, I won't waste any more time here. Rising, she walked with a somewhat awkward gait, yet her eyes burned with the fierce flames of ambition. I need to head to the capital to scout locations, register the company. There's so much to do. Once I finalize the preliminary work, you can come directly. Thus, Jiang Chumo departed in a whirlwind of energy. Watching her determined figure retreat, Yi Bai could only chuckle helplessly. After bidding farewell to Jiang Chumo, Yi Bai did not embark on his journey immediately. There remained a pressing matter to attend to. He picked up his phone and dialed the number of Secretary Dekong from the Huadu Municipal Committee. Hello? Is that you, Yi Bai? What prompted you to call me? Came the cheerful laughter of Secretary Dekong from the other end. Secretary Dekong, I have a request I hope you can assist me with. Yi Bai replied with a smile. Oh, what is it? If it has compelled you to reach out to me directly, I must listen attentively. It's about Zhang Hongying. I wish to transfer her to a high school in the imperial capital for her final year. Yi Bai explained his intentions to Secretary Dekong. Additionally, I would like to inquire if there are ways to ensure she receives superior educational resources and a safer living environment in the capital. Regarding this matter, Secretary Dekong pondered for a moment on the phone. I do have a suggestion. You might consider having her take the entrance exam for the affiliated high school of Longhua University. They offer a gifted program specifically designed for the nation's top talents. Once admitted, she would not only benefit from the finest educational resources, but also enjoy special protection as a distinguished talent recognized by the state. Such a pathway exists. Yi Bai's eyes lit up upon hearing this. Indeed, Secretary Dekong explained with a smile. Do you think that university admission is solely reliant on the college entrance examination? The country has numerous channels for selecting talent nowadays. For instance, there is the Strong Foundation program aimed at identifying exceptional students in fundamental disciplines, and the comprehensive evaluation, which places greater importance on a student's overall qualities than merely their examination scores. Take Qingbei, for example. Each year, a significant portion of its students are admitted through means other than traditional examinations. Just imagine, if you were to secure a gold medal at a global Olympiad or achieve groundbreaking accomplishments in a particular field, wouldn't universities be vying for you? Listening to Secretary Dekong's explanation, Yi Bai felt enlightened. He had never been aware of such possibilities before. I will ensure this matter is taken care of. Secretary De Kong readily agreed over the phone. Coincidentally, I will be heading to the imperial capital for a meeting in a few days. Let us share a meal then. I will invite Su Ning as well. It's been quite a while since she last saw you, and I believe she misses you. Su Ning? Upon hearing that familiar name, the image of the spirited and justice-driven police officer instantly appeared in Yi Bai's mind. Indeed, it had been quite some time since their last encounter. How has she been? Yi Bai could not help but ask. That girl has truly excelled. She was one of the key trainees in our province's police training program. During her internship in Huadu, she performed exceptionally well, solving several major cases. Later, she was transferred to the capital for intensive training, where she also ranked among the top. She has now officially graduated and has been assigned to the Jinghai district of the imperial capital, where she serves as a squad leader in the patrol team. A squad leader? Yi Bai was somewhat astonished. This time, she had truly become Officer Su. He could not help but express his admiration. The following morning, on the tarmac of Yunshao Auto Repair Factory, a military aircraft from the imperial capital awaited silently. Accompanying him on this journey, aside from Zhang Hongying, was Sun Ling. Although she did not need to rush to the capital so early, as there was still time before school commenced, she insisted, "Wherever you go, I shall follow. After all, you cannot do without me." Yi Bai could only accept this with resignation, for her words held a kernel of truth. In the villa, Lin Chuxua hung up the phone after bidding her son farewell, and tears streamed down her cheeks uncontrollably. "Oh, my poor son. He has only just returned for a few days, and now he must leave again. This departure will last an entire semester. It will be months before I see him again." She wept sorrowfully, her face resembling a rain-soaked pear blossom. Beside her, Yi Nantian observed her distress and snorted coldly. Feigning strength as he said, "Why are you crying? It's just school. It's not like he is going to war." Such a narrow-minded view. With that, he turned away and walked into his study. However, once he closed the door behind him, his expression fell instantly. Slowly, he approached his desk and picked up a picture frame containing a photo of Yi Bai from his childhood. The little boy in the picture, with his round face and bright smile, radiated pure joy. As he gazed at the photograph, Yi Nanshan's eyes began to glisten. He pulled out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it, and took a deep drag. The swirling smoke obscured his complex emotions. One after another, he lit cigarette after cigarette, until the butts accumulated into a small mound at his feet. Subsequently, he shifted his gaze from the photograph to two other frames nearby. One contained two gleaming certificates of first-class merit awarded by the military, while the other displayed a screenshot of a bank statement. The long string of zeros was enough to drive any ordinary person to madness. As he looked at these trophies representing his son's unparalleled achievements, the sorrow and reluctance on Yi Nanshan's face gradually transformed into a slight smile, one filled with pride and contentment reminiscent of a devoted father. A few hours later, the private jet landed smoothly at a well-guarded secret military base in the western suburbs of the imperial capital. As soon as he disembarked, Yi Bai spotted a familiar, slender figure standing quietly outside the airport. Dressed in a fitted black combat uniform, her athletic physique was impeccably accentuated. Her long, lustrous hair was pulled back into a high ponytail, exuding an aura of confidence and vigor. The most striking feature, however, was the fluffy white rabbit ear headband perched atop her head, which contrasted with her otherwise sharp attire. The moment she saw Yi Bai stepping off the plane, her previously cold and serious expression blossomed into a radiant smile, reminiscent of melting ice and snow. "Yi Bai?" she exclaimed, hastening towards him. It was none other than Su Ning, the squad leader of the Jinghai District Patrol Team, whom he had not seen in quite some time. Chapter 283, Dinner Plans. But the private room was taken. Su Ning, clad in a well-tailored black combat suit, showcased a physique comparable to that of a top supermodel. Her slender waist, curvaceous hips, and remarkably long legs exuded an undeniable allure. "Yi Bai? It has been ages." Yi Bai smiled as he took in the sight of this increasingly spirited and striking figure. "Indeed, it has been a long time." As Su Ning approached him, she scrutinized him from head to toe. "You have become a nationally renowned hero and a prominent figure. A mere grassroots individual like me must seem unworthy of your friendship now." "Don't say such things," Yi Bai replied without hesitation. "We shall always remain good friends." Hearing this, Su Ning's smile brightened even further. "At least you still have some conscience. Come on. I promised to treat you to a meal when you came to the capital. Today, I will ensure you have a delightful feast." With that, she led Yi Bai towards the Qi and Longqi parked not far away. Mounting the motorcycle, she effortlessly placed her long legs on the ground and tossed a spare helmet to Yi Bai with a graceful motion. With a deep, thunderous roar of the engine, The Qi and Longqi transformed into a streak of black lightning, whisking the two of them away. The motorcycle sped along the expansive roads of the capital, ultimately coming to a halt before a restaurant imbued with classical charm and grandiose architecture, the Beiping Hotel. Su Ning removed her helmet, tossing her silky ponytail, and pointed to the ancient sign, declaring, "This is one of the most renowned restaurants in the capital. It's almost impossible for the average person to secure a reservation." The two of them entered the hotel, where they were promptly greeted by a service attendant clad in a qipao, her figure graceful and poised. "Hello. I have a reservation for the Pear Blossom Room, under the surname Su," Su Ning stated confidently as she provided her details. The attendant, with a professionally sweet smile, consulted the system for a moment, only to furrow her brow slightly and apologize. "I'm sorry, Ms. Su, but there seems to be no record of your reservation in our system." "How can that be?" Su Ning exclaimed, her beautifully arched brows knitting together in disbelief. "I distinctly made the reservation and paid the deposit." She pulled out her phone to retrieve the booking confirmation. The attendant quickly bowed in apology once more. "I sincerely apologize. It appears there may be an issue with our system. We will promptly refund your deposit in full. We deeply regret the inconvenience caused." Observing Su Ning's bewildered expression, Yi Bai inquired, "Is it still possible to book another room?" The attendant's face reflected concern as she respectfully replied, "I regret to inform you, sir, that all our private rooms require a minimum of 3 days' notice for reservations. Unfortunately, we are fully booked for this evening." Just as Su Ning was about to voice her discontent and argue her case, Yi Bai gently tugged at her sleeve, signaling her to let it go. Given that the matter was already firmly stated, further insistence would only lead to frustration. The two reluctantly turned away, preparing to seek a spot in the bustling lobby below. At that moment, a young couple brushed past them, making their way to the front desk. The man appeared to be in his mid-20s. Dressed in an impeccably tailored designer suit, adorned with a limited edition Patek Philippe watch, and exuding an air of arrogant nonchalance, unmistakably a privileged air. The woman in his embrace possessed a quintessential influencer's visage, her high nose and full lips appearing somewhat rigid, clad in a form-fitting dress that clung closely to her figure. Adopting a mannerism that was overtly theatrical, "Do you have a private room?" the young man asked the front desk attendant in a commanding tone. The attendant maintained a professional smile and respectfully replied, "I apologize, sir, but all the private rooms are fully booked for tonight." "Fully booked?" The young man's eyebrows arched, clearly displeased with the response. Without further ado, he extracted his identification from his pocket and carelessly tossed it onto the front desk. The attendant instinctively glanced down, and upon recognizing the details on the ID, her expression transformed instantly. The professional smile shifted to one of enthusiastic warmth as she promptly bowed and, with an almost obsequious tone, exclaimed, "We do have an opening. The Pear Blossom Room has just become available. Allow me to escort you there immediately." Hearing the name Pear Blossom Room, both Yi Bai and Su Ning halted in their tracks. The attendant, her face alight with a smile, personally guided the couple toward the very room they had just been informed was unavailable due to a system error. In that moment, a surge of indignation erupted within Yi Bai. His gaze turned icy. This was no mere system glitch, but a blatant display of preferential treatment. Su Ning sensed the coldness radiating from Yi Bai and gently tugged at his sleeve, lowering her voice to express her concern. "Let it go, Yi Bai. Given their demeanor and the restaurant's attitude, they are likely individuals we cannot afford to offend. Let's find another place to eat." As a police officer working in the capital, she understood better than anyone that in this city, some individuals wielded influence far beyond what appeared on the surface. "Cannot afford to offend?" Yi Bai's lips curled into a cold smirk at her words. He turned to meet Su Ning's worried gaze and calmly stated, "Fear not. I have a plan." With that, he pulled out his phone and stepped aside to make a call. After concluding his business, he returned to Su Ning's side. His demeanor restored to calm, as if nothing had transpired. "Let us eat in the lobby," he said, guiding the still-dazed Su Ning to a small table for two in a windowed corner of the bustling hall. Though seated amidst the clamor, Su Ning seemed undeterred. Her spirits buoyed. The two ordered several signature dishes from the Beiping Hotel and engaged in lively conversation. "You wouldn't believe it. This city is truly peculiar," Su Ning remarked, playfully picking up a piece of Beijing-style shredded pork. "Sometimes when dining out, the table next to you might be occupied by someone you only see on television. Handling a traffic violation, you might find a celebrity in the car you stop. Often, we police officers have to tread carefully in our enforcement. It's quite the challenge." There was a hint of resignation in her tone. Yi Bai listened, offering a serene smile and understanding. After all, this was the capital, the heart of the Dragon Kingdom, where power and privilege converged, rendering any bizarre occurrence unsurprising. Their meal concluded in a light-hearted atmosphere, with Su Ning sharing amusing anecdotes from her experiences in the police force, while Yi Bai listened attentively, interjecting with comments from time to time. When the bill arrived, Yi Bai reached for it, but Su Ning swiftly snatched it away. "This one's on me," she declared, holding the bill aloft with determination, followed by a playful wink. "I won't let you underestimate the spending power of grassroots law enforcement officers." Yi Bai observed her earnest yet charming demeanor and chose not to insist further, nodding with a smile. Su Ning promptly scanned the payment code, her face illuminating with satisfaction, as though she had accomplished something of great significance. Yi Bai respected her intent and refrained from contesting it. "Thank you for your hospitality today. I promise to surprise you later," he said. "A surprise?" Su Ning's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "What kind of surprise?" Yi Bai merely smiled cryptically, leaving her in suspense. At that moment, a subtle commotion arose at the entrance of the Beiping Hotel. A black SUV bearing military plates came to a steady stop, and as the door swung open, a middle-aged man, clad in civilian attire but exuding an imposing presence, stepped out. The hotel manager, quick to recognize the visitor, was instantly adorned with a sycophantic smile as he rushed to greet him. "Commander Nye, what brings you here today? Please come in." The individual was none other than Commander Nye, the highest-ranking officer of the Central Military District. The restaurant staff quickly gathered around, eager to attend to him as he made his way inside. "Commander, we have reserved the finest Lingyan pavilion for you upstairs. Allow me to escort you," the manager said, leading the way with deference. However, Commander Nye waved his hand, his stride unwavering, and replied, "No need. I have an appointment today." "An appointment?" The manager was momentarily taken aback. Given Commander Nye's stature, if he had a reservation at the Beiping Hotel, it would be information the manager could not possibly overlook. After all, such guests warranted the highest level of reception. His mind raced with thoughts. Yet he could not fathom which prominent figure from the capital could have summoned Commander Nye in person while the hotel remained blissfully unaware. Just as he was lost in contemplation, Commander Nye strode confidently through the crowd, purposefully heading towards the corner of the hall. The lobby manager, filled with bewilderment, could only follow suit, matching Nye's steps. Then, he beheld a scene that rendered his mind blank. Commander Nye approached a modest table for two by the window, halting his advance. Seated there were the young couple whose reservation had just been cancelled, forced to dine in the bustling hall instead. What in the world? The lobby manager's eyes nearly bulged out of their sockets, as he stood frozen in shock. Was Commander Nye here to meet his son and daughter-in-law? Yet, the circumstances seemed all wrong. With a warm smile, Commander Nye addressed Yi Bai, saying, "Comrade Yi Bai, I have come as promised." Yi Bai stood, displaying a hint of perfectly timed regret on his face. Glancing around at the noisy surroundings, he raised his hands in a gesture of helplessness. "I sincerely apologize, Commander Nye. The Beiping Hotel is experiencing an overwhelming surge in business, and there are no private rooms available. Thus, you must endure this arrangement here." He then turned to the lobby manager, who remained paralyzed with fear, and politely inquired, "Manager, could you kindly bring us another set of utensils and a chair?" "No private rooms." The lobby manager felt as if struck by lightning, his mind drawing a blank, while internally he screamed, "How could there be no private rooms?" The top-tier rooms, Lingyan Pavilion, Peony Pavilion, and Furong Pavilion, were all clearly unoccupied. Commander Nye, a man of such stature, instantly grasped the underlying tension from Yi Bai's words. His gaze swept over the lobby manager, his tone calm, yet imbued with undeniable authority. "Is that so? I believe I heard you mention at the entrance that the best Lingyan Pavilion is still available?" Cold sweat drenched the lobby manager's back. He abruptly turned, shooting a death glare at the trembling waiter beside him, who was already as pale as a ghost. Survival instinct led him to find a scapegoat, and he hastily bowed to Commander Nye, forcing a smile that resembled a grimace. "Commander, you see the predicament. It's her fault. She's new and inexperienced, and she mismanaged the information. The Lingyan Pavilion is indeed available. I will arrange it immediately for you and Comrade Yi Bai." The waiter, terrified by the manager's betrayal, shivered, her legs weak, nearly collapsing to the ground. Yet, a flicker of relief washed over her, grateful that the manager had not fired her on the spot and seemed intent on salvaging the situation. However, before she could fully exhale, Yi Bai's measured voice cut through the air once more. "Wait." Yi Bai raised a hand, halting the manager, his smile soft yet his gaze subtly pointed at the waiter. "Dining here is quite agreeable. The view is expansive, and the atmosphere lively. We shall not occupy another space." "Occupy another space?" Those words struck the waiter like a hammer, her face shifting from pale to a deep shade of green. It dawned on her that Yi Bai was subtly pointing her out. Commander Nye regarded Yi Bai with indifference, casually waving his hand, and sat down in the chair opposite him. I have no preference. Wherever we dine is inconsequential. This place is just fine. With the commander's declaration, the decision was final. The lobby manager stood frozen, feeling as if he were on a spit over an open flame. Beads of sweat cascading down his forehead like a waterfall. If he failed to manage this situation properly, his position as manager was surely at stake. At that moment, a singular thought consumed him. He must quickly ascertain for whom they had offended such a formidable figure. Please wait. I will fetch the chair and utensils right away. The lobby manager, drenched in sweat, found an excuse and grasped the wrist of the nearby waiter, nearly dragging her to a secluded corner. Speak. What on earth happened? He hissed, his tone brimming with fury. Who was that at the Pear Blossom Pavilion? The waiter, gripping her wrist in pain, stammered with a quivering voice. It was Director Wang's son from Hating District. Which Director Wang? The one in charge of urban construction planning. Upon hearing that name, the lobby manager felt the world darken before his eyes, his legs nearly giving way beneath him. It was over. This was a catastrophe. One was a director wielding substantial power, and the other, a military region commander. To offend the commander for the sake of currying favor with the director's son? What kind of madness was this? He sensed his career was crumbling at that very moment. He could only hope that the weight of this Director Wang could somewhat mitigate the overwhelming pressure from Commander Nye. Yet, as he pondered, he realized it was a futile hope. How could a mere district director possibly compare to a commander commanding troops? Chapter 285. How long has it been since Yi Bai transformed into a dragon among men? Manager Lu drew a deep breath, forcing down the tumult within, and hastily made his way to the Pear Blossom Pavilion. Young Master Wang, I sincerely apologize for interrupting your meal. Manager Lu bowed as he entered. Wang Hao lifted his eyelids, casting an impatient glance in Lu's direction. What is it? Can't you see I'm busy? Get out. Manager Lu felt his heart plummet. Young Master Wang, I implore you, a significant figure has arrived outside whom you cannot afford to offend. Would you consider stepping out to offer your apologies? Cannot afford to offend? Wang Hao laughed derisively, as if he had heard the greatest joke. In this capital, aside from a select few, there are hardly any who warrant my family's consideration. You, a mere manager, dare to instruct me? Seeing Wang Hao resolutely unyielding, Manager Lu's last shred of hope evaporated. With a dull thud, he sank to his knees before Wang Hao. Young Master Wang, I beg you. The person outside is truly a figure of immense stature. If you do not step out, our entire Beiping Hotel will be doomed because of you. This sudden display of desperation stunned both Wang Hao and the internet celebrity beside him. The mocking smile on Wang Hao's face froze. He was no fool. To compel the lobby manager of Beiping Hotel to kneel in supplication, the identity of the individual outside was undoubtedly beyond his imagination. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Wang Hao's inebriation dissipated. He forcefully pushed the woman from his embrace, his expression darkening as he rose, hastening to follow the now terrified Manager Lu. He was determined to discover who possessed such influence. However, as he emerged from the private room and followed the trembling finger of Manager Lu to the corner of the hall, his pupils dilated in shock, and he felt as if struck by lightning. The middle-aged man, laughing and conversing with a young man, was someone he recognized. This was the individual who had commanded the parade, the commander of the Central Military District. Wang Hao felt his knees weaken, nearly collapsing. He scrambled forward, standing before Commander Nye, trembling uncontrollably. Commander Nye, I had no idea it was you. I am doomed. I am truly doomed. Commander Nye glanced at him, his expression unreadable. You have not offended me. Wang Hao was momentarily taken aback, yet before he could exhale in relief, Commander Nye's voice continued. However, your behavior of leveraging your status to usurp the private room of an ordinary citizen is highly inappropriate. We are servants of the people, dedicated to serving them. How could we possibly stand in opposition to them? Young man, your awareness and understanding still require improvement. Wang Hao glanced at the unfamiliar Yi Bai beside Commander Nye, feeling a profound sense of injustice. This was truly an undeserved calamity. Yet, at that moment, he dared not utter a word of rebuttal, only burying his head lower and repeatedly expressing his compliance. He then turned to Yi Bai, preparing to apologize. I apologize, comrade. Today's incident is my fault, and I sincerely ask for your forgiveness. Yi Bai merely gestured with his chin towards Su Ning beside him. You need not apologize to me, apologize to her. The suite you took was hers. Wang Hao was momentarily stunned. In an instant, a thought flashed through his mind, to rage for the sake of a beauty. Though he harbored such thoughts, he dared not slacken his demeanor. He immediately turned to Su Ning, bowing deeply at a 90-degree angle, his voice imbued with utmost sincerity. I am sorry. Today, I failed to recognize your stature and have offended you. I earnestly apologize. Please forgive me. The scene before Su Ning left her utterly bewildered. She had merely intended to treat a friend to a simple meal, never expecting the situation to escalate to this point. A formerly arrogant second-generation heir and a high-ranking military commander, and she had become the center of it all. Observing Wang Hao's almost ground-hugging posture of apology, Su Ning felt somewhat at a loss. It's all right, please rise. Upon receiving Su Ning's forgiveness, Wang Hao felt as though a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders, yet he still dared not stand upright. Stealing glances at Yi Bai and Commander Nia from the corners of his eyes, Yi Bai, noticing his hesitation, waved his hand impatiently, as if shooing away a fly. All right, go on. Wang Hao then gingerly straightened his posture, repeatedly bowing to the others before hastily exiting the restaurant, as if fleeing. Thus, the commotion came to an end. Manager Liu, at this moment, finally dared to exhale a sigh of relief. He hurriedly approached Commander Nia and Yi Bai, gesturing for them to follow him. Commander Nia, Comrade Yi Bai, the Lingyan Pavilion upstairs is ready. Allow me to escort you both. Yi Bai intended to decline, but seeing that Commander Nia had already risen and seemed not to oppose, coupled with Manager Liu's nearly tearful expression, he felt compelled to relent. Under Manager Liu's personal guidance, the three ascended to the Lingyan Pavilion on the top floor of the restaurant. As they pushed open the heavy rosewood door, a space far more spacious and luxurious than the pear-blossom courtyard unfolded before Su Ning. Beneath her feet lay a hand-woven Persian carpet. Above her head hung a dazzling crystal chandelier, and the walls were adorned with authentic masterpieces. Even the tableware was exquisite bone china with gold accents. From the floor-to-ceiling windows of the suite, one could gaze out upon the magnificent nightscape of the capital. Su Ning stood in awe, momentarily at a loss for words. She internally lamented how little time had passed. Yi Bai had risen to such heights that even a military commander would personally meet with him, capable of compelling the manager of the Beiping Hotel to kneel in supplication. And what of herself? Still just an ordinary police officer with no notable background. Perhaps it would take her decades of struggle, exerting every ounce of effort, only to become the most inconspicuous part of Yi Bai's illustrious backdrop. A sense of indescribable disappointment surged within her. Yi Bai, perceptive to Su Ning's emotional shift, reassured her, do not feel overly pressured. We are friends. You have aided me greatly in the past in Huadu. Now that we are in the capital, it is my turn to assist you. This is but a matter of course. This bond is for a lifetime. A warmth blossomed in Su Ning's heart. Indeed, a man would sacrifice for a friend, and a woman would adorn herself for the one she cherishes. Despite being a few years her junior, what did age matter? As long as he was willing and in need, what could she not offer him? With that thought, the remnants of her disappointment evaporated, replaced by an indescribable flutter of emotion. A charming blush crept upon her cheeks, and her heart was aflutter with youthful exuberance. I have matters to attend to with my team, so I shall take my leave. Su Ning found an excuse, fearing that if she lingered any longer, she might lose control of her emotions and act boldly. Take care on your way, Yi Bai nodded. Su Ning acknowledged him, bidding farewell to Commander Nia and Yi Bai before swiftly exiting the suite. With Su Ning gone, only Yi Bai and Commander Nia remained in the room. Commander Nia, thank you for your timely intervention today. I shall remember this favor. Commander Nia smiled and waved his hand dismissively. It was but a trivial matter. It hardly counts as a favor. Regardless, I recognize this kindness, Yi Bai replied firmly. How about this? Should you require any modifications to your equipment in the future, I shall offer you a 20% discount. Upon hearing this, Commander Nia paused momentarily, his hand holding the teacup faltering. 20%? Excellent. That is your word. If we are to modify anything, make it a tank. A main battle tank. I have no interest in anything else. A tank. Even Yi Bai, accustomed to great trials, could not help but gasp at the mention of those words. This was a tank, a land warfare behemoth capable of crushing all. The ultimate romantic ideal inscribed in the genes of every man. The vehicles he had previously modified, whether police trailers or infantry fighting vehicles, paled in comparison to a genuine main battle tank, akin to child's toys. So, do you dare to accept? Commander Nia asked with a smile. I accept. Of course. I accept. Yi Bai readily affirmed. Having secured this dreamlike deal, Yi Bai immediately felt an immense pressure weighing upon him. Whether it was modifying tanks or the upcoming Flying Centipede project, both required an enormous amount of shock value for support. He needed to swiftly identify a new point of explosive growth capable of captivating the entire network. With a thought, he immersed his consciousness into the second-stage laboratory. Amidst a myriad of technological options, he quickly pinpointed a highly cost-effective new product, the firefighting drone. Firefighting drone swarm combat system. Function: capable of controlling up to 100 drones in coordinated operations via an individual terminal or onboard platform, equipped with high-pressure water cannons, dry powder fire extinguishing projectiles, infrared light detectors, and various modules, achieving a three-dimensional, precise strike without blind spots on high-rise buildings and complex terrain fire scenes. Required shock value for exchange, 10 million. This is it. Yi Bai did not hesitate for a moment and directly chose to redeem it. The following day, Yi Bai arrived at his own high-tech factory located on the outskirts of the capital. The factory had begun to take shape. The complete set of top-notch machinery worth 300 million that Zhang Defa had compensated for was being installed within the expansive facility, although the interior decoration was not yet complete. With construction materials scattered about creating a somewhat chaotic atmosphere, the core production area was already operational. In the center of the factory lay a massive SMPT flatbed truck. Its colossal body formed by hundreds of tires, resembling a prehistoric beast awaiting dissection. In the days that followed, Yi Bai dedicated himself wholeheartedly to the modification and upgrading of this behemoth. The technical challenges of modifying the flying centipede were not insurmountable. The real difficulty lay in the sheer scale of the engineering required. This flatbed truck was simply too vast, with every component weighing several tons, even dozens of tons. For an entire week, Yi Bai practically lived at the factory, expending all his energy on this steel giant, save for brief moments of rest. At long last, on the evening of the 7th day, as the final high-intensity bolt was automatically tightened, the modification and upgrade of the first module, the biotechnological multi-legged chassis, was officially declared complete. Gazing at the colossal structure, which bore the nascent semblance of a flying centipede, Yi Bai let out a long sigh of relief. This was merely the beginning. The remaining modules would consume an entire month of his time. Time flew, and before he knew it, it was the day before the commencement of the new semester at Qingbei University. That afternoon, he received a phone call from Commander Nye, inviting him once again to dine at the Lingxian Pavilion of the Beiping Hotel, ostensibly to celebrate the onset of his university life. When Yi Bai pushed open the rosewood door of the pavilion, he was taken aback to discover not only Commander Nye, dressed casually, but also an unfamiliar middle-aged gentleman seated within. The man appeared to be in his 50s, his hair a mix of black and white, meticulously combed. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses and a simple Zhongshan suit, exuding an air of scholarly elegance and authoritative presence. Upon seeing Yi Bai enter, the middle-aged man immediately rose, a warm smile gracing his face as he extended his hand. Commander Nye, smiling beside him, introduced, "Yi Bai, allow me to present to you the president of Qingbei University, Principal Du Wenxuan." Principal Du? Yi Bai was startled, quickly extending his hand in greeting. "Hello, Principal Du, greetings. Yi Bai, it is a pleasure to finally meet you." Principal Du warmly grasped Yi Bai's hand, scrutinizing him from head to toe. "Truly, it is said that seeing is believing. You are indeed impressive for one so young. Though you have yet to officially enroll, you have already become one of our university's most renowned alumni. With your ingenuity, developing firefighting mechas and rushing to aid, saving countless lives. What a model for our generation." In the face of such commendation from an academic luminary, Yi Bai remained composed, offering a modest smile. "You are too kind, Principal Du. I merely did what I felt was right. It is my duty to serve the people." "Well said. To serve the people." Principal Du laughed heartily, his admiration for Yi Bai intensifying. To possess such profound awareness at such a young age is truly remarkable. Our Qingbei University needs students like you. As the three settled into their seats and enjoyed a few rounds of drinks, Principal Du finally revealed the true purpose of his visit. "Yi Bai, I have a rather unexpected request." "Please, go ahead, Principal," Yi Bai encouraged. "It is this." Principal Du pondered for a moment. "At tomorrow's opening ceremony, I would like you to serve as our special guest and deliver a speech on stage. You may speak on anything you wish, your insights from your research, your visions for the future, or even just a simple greeting to the audience. Speak on stage." Yi Bai furrowed his brow at the suggestion, uncertain of what he should say. Seemingly sensing his hesitation, Principal Du swiftly presented an utterly irresistible proposition. "I understand this may come as a surprise and could place you in a difficult position. However, should you agree to this request, I can assure you that for your next 4 years at university, attendance will be entirely at your discretion. The school will impose no requirements regarding your presence. And as long as you pass your final exams, you will receive your credits. After all, given your abilities and achievements, those foundational courses hold little significance for you. Upon hearing this, Yi Bai's previously furrowed brow instantly relaxed. This condition was simply too alluring. With so many grand projects ahead of him, modifying tanks, developing new cutting-edge technologies, who had the time to sit in a classroom daily? As a member of Qingbei University, it would be an honor to represent the freshmen at the opening ceremony. The meal concluded with merriment. In the afternoon, Yi Bai made his way to the entrance of Qingbei University alone. As he stepped onto the campus, a profound cultural ambience enveloped him. Towering sycamore trees lined the roads, lush and verdant. Not far off, a lotus pond brimmed with emerald leaves, with a few pink lotus blossoms elegantly standing tall. Chapter 287. Roommate. What a huge leg. I'm hugging it following the directions. Yi Bai located his dormitory, Ziyuan building. Upon opening the door, he discovered 3 individuals already inside. As soon as they noticed Yi Bai's entrance, all 3 turned their gazes toward him in unison. Hello, I am Yi Bai, he greeted with a smile. A burly young man with dark skin immediately stood up from his chair, extending his hand enthusiastically. I'm Chen Hong. I was recruited for my prowess in table tennis. Yi Bai shook his hand before turning to the other 2. One was a rather frail-looking boy wearing thick glasses, who adjusted them and regarded Yi Bai with a curious expression. I'm Wang Zi, an International Mathematics Olympiad gold medalist. I've watched all your live streams. The last individual was a boy with a buzz cut and sharp eyes, exuding a somewhat rebellious demeanor. Leaning against his bed while clutching a laptop, he said casually, Zhao Lan, I was specially recruited for discovering a payment loophole in Chicken Pay. After listening to the self-introductions of the 3, Yi Bai couldn't help but be astonished. What a remarkable assembly. This dormitory was indeed a treasure trove of talents. One an athletic star, another a mathematical genius, and the last a top-tier hacker, each excelling in their respective fields. So you are the one who modified cars into Gundams Online. Chen Hong, the table tennis specialist, was the most outgoing. Excitedly approaching Yi Bai. Brother Yi, I see you modify cars and those massive mechas. Could you possibly reverse engineer and help me modify a mountain bike? One that can automatically climb hills and has a bit of jet propulsion? Yi Bai chuckled at this. I could modify it. But are you sure you want to install a jet engine on a bicycle? That's not a modification. That's turning it into an aircraft, which is unnecessary. Truly unnecessary. Right. Chen Hong scratched his head sheepishly. At that moment, Wang Zi chimed in. Yi Bai, I'm genuinely curious. What is the structure of your brain like? How do you conceive so many avant-garde technologies? For instance, the subsonic earthquake early warning system for the firefighting mecha, and the quantum phase-shifting armor for the anti-tank infantry vehicle. His barrage of questions left Yi Bai somewhat exasperated. Look, my friend, he said, raising his hands in resignation, even if you sliced my brain open, you probably wouldn't find any answers. Suddenly, the usually quiet Zhao Lan interjected, Isn't your Yinxiao auto repair shop now upgraded to a cutting-edge technology company? Are you hiring? Would you be interested in bringing me on board? Yi Bai glanced at him in surprise. This seemingly aloof fellow had a sharp mind. In a half-joking tone, he replied, Oh, you want to join my company? Are you sure you're not trying to infiltrate and steal my business secrets? Zhao Lan showed no signs of embarrassment at Yi Bai's jest. Instead, he displayed a hint of disdain. He reopened his laptop and quickly typed a few commands. Turning the screen toward Yi Bai, he stated coolly, Steal your secrets? Your company doesn't even have a proper internal firewall, and the server is riddled with vulnerabilities. To me, it's no different from an unlocked empty house. If I wanted to steal something, there wouldn't be a trace left. Yi Bai leaned in for a closer look, and to his astonishment, the screen displayed the exceedingly rudimentary back-end management interface of Yinxiao Auto Repair Shop, clearly showing the recent order transactions. Yi Bai exclaimed in disbelief, Good heavens! It seems my secrets have already been thoroughly exposed. However, rather than feeling anger, he found himself increasingly admiring the unruly hacker genius before him. A thought rapidly took shape in his mind. Was this not a ready-made entrepreneurial team? Zhao Lan's technical expertise could oversee the cybersecurity and information systems of future projects for the company. Chen Hong, with his sunny disposition and athletic prowess, could easily be polished into the charismatic spokesperson for a cutting-edge technology factory, captivating the attention of the youth. As for Wang Zi, whose brain rivaled that of a supercomputer, would it not be a waste to merely employ him as an accountant? A jest. Inviting him to join the research and development team for theoretical calculations and model construction would undoubtedly be akin to adding wings to a tiger. An athlete, a scientist, a hacker, and himself, the core technological mind. This combination was simply perfect. With these thoughts, Yi Bai could no longer contain his excitement and immediately shared his vision. Since everyone held him in such high regard, he decided to be forthright. He was indeed ready to make a significant impact in the capital. So how about it? My three friends, are you interested in joining my team and embarking on a groundbreaking venture together? As soon as his words fell, the dormitory was enveloped in a brief silence. Chen Hong broke the quiet first, enthusiastically slapping his thigh. Absolutely. Ye go, since you've spoken, I'm definitely on board. What is more thrilling than building mechas instead of just playing ping pong? Wang Zi calmly analyzed. Your technology embodies the future. From an investment return perspective, joining your team is the optimal choice. Zhao Lan was even more succinct, shutting his laptop and stating plainly, I'm in. The responses from the three were decisive and unhesitating. Each of them was astute in their respective fields and understood that this represented a broad avenue leading to the pinnacle of the world. When else would they seize such a golden opportunity? In perfect accord, the four young individuals, who had just met, were instantaneously united by a common goal. With the future direction confirmed, the atmosphere in the dormitory became extraordinarily vibrant. They huddled together, engaging in conversation until the late hours. The dialogue meandered from the future landscape of technology to a quintessential aspect of university life, beautiful campus girls. Hey, have you heard about a freshman named Sun Ling? She's stunning, like a celestial being, and was nominated as a candidate for the campus beauty right upon arrival. Her photos have gone viral. She's got the aura of a star. Chen Hong gossiped eagerly. Sun Ling is beautiful, but compared to another, she falls a bit short, Wang Zi countered. Shaking his head, I've heard there's a talented girl in the School of Management named Su Qinghua. She's not only gorgeous, but also excels in singing and dancing. Her piano skills are mesmerizing. Moreover, she comes from a privileged background, a true heiress. Compared to her, Sun Ling seems rather ordinary. Listening to his roommates fervently discuss these two goddesses, Yi Bai merely held his cup of water, smiling silently. Sun Ling? She was already someone he had partially developed. Su Qinghua. He had even personally modified a Maserati with the sea god's martial soul for her. After their light-hearted chatter about romance, the conversation unconsciously shifted to significant national affairs and military politics. It was only in the early hours of the morning that they climbed into their beds and succumbed to deep slumber. Chapter 288, Opening Ceremony. Invited by the principal to speak on stage. The following day, during the opening ceremony, two striking figures ascended the podium. Respected leaders, teachers, and dear classmates, good morning. The melodious voice resonated through the microphone, instantly capturing everyone's attention. Sun Ling, clad in a flowing white gown, exuded a gentle grace reminiscent of a rare orchid in a secluded valley. Su Qinghua, in a pale blue skirt suit, embodied an elegant sophistication, akin to a refined lady of high society. Together, they drew the gaze of countless freshmen in the audience. In this delightful September, we gather to embark on a new chapter in our lives. May we not squander our youth, but instead strive diligently, showcasing our talents in this hall of knowledge, contributing to the great rejuvenation of our nation. Their harmonious delivery made even the most formal of statements sound earnest. Following this, there were lengthy speeches from various leaders and a faculty representative. Finally, Principal Du Wenxuan took the stage. Students, as is customary, during each year's opening ceremony, I encourage you to learn from the outstanding seniors in our illustrious history, such as Academician Pan, who made remarkable contributions to quantum communication, and Academician Huang, who led a team to solve the challenges of lithography. He enumerated a series of illustrious names, each representing the pinnacle of achievement in their respective fields, stirring the hearts of the freshers. However, at that moment, Principal Du's tone shifted unexpectedly. But today, I do not wish for you to gaze up at those distant stars. Today, I want you to learn from someone among you. He is our freshman, Yi Bai, from the class of 2025. The instant his words concluded, the auditorium erupted in astonished murmurs. All the new students began to whisper among themselves, puzzled by the sudden turn of events. Principal Du, undeterred by the commotion below, continued. Perhaps many of you are unfamiliar with him, but you must have heard of his deeds. He single-handedly modified specialized vehicles for our fire and police departments, significantly enhancing our capability to maintain public security and carry out disaster relief. He has also developed a series of revolutionary weaponry for our military, elevating our national defense to new heights. Just recently, he personally piloted the fire mecha he developed, racing to the rescue during the earthquake in Bay County, saving the lives of hundreds of trapped students and teachers. To honor his exceptional contributions, the state and military have awarded him the first-class merit medal on 2 separate occasions. 2 first-class merits. When those 5 words escaped Principal Du's lips, the entire gymnasium erupted in fervor. All the freshmen gasped in disbelief, their faces reflecting incredulity. What does it mean to receive first-class merit? It is the highest honor a soldier can achieve in peacetime, awarded only through immense sacrifice and contribution. And this Yi Bai, at merely 18 years of age, has already received it twice. This was no longer mere excellence. This was simply legendary. The room fell silent. Thousands of gazes converged upon the figure illuminated by the spotlight. Yi Bai grasped the microphone, his calm gaze sweeping over the sea of eyes before him. Esteemed teachers and fellow students, greetings. I am Yi Bai. Principal Du has shared much about my achievements, bestowing me with high praise, and I feel honored to stand here. To you, it may seem that I have accomplished remarkable feats, modifying vehicles, creating mechas, and earning 2 first-class merits. Yet, my initial intention was quite simple. I merely wished to utilize my knowledge and modest talents to contribute to this country, this society, and our people in whatever small ways I could. Thus, when firefighters required safer equipment, I developed firefighting suits. When disaster zones needed more efficient rescue methods, I created fire mechas. And when our nation required a stronger defense, I modified weaponry for the military. Everything I have done has been a natural progression. The so-called achievements and honors are merely the organic results of this journey. I do not deny my talents. After all, humility holds no merit in the face of absolute capability. However, I am acutely aware that an individual's power is ultimately limited. No matter how great the talent, it requires someone to put it into practice. No matter how grand the blueprint may be, it requires the collective effort and dedication of countless individuals to sustain and construct it. Just like all of you present here, some excel in theoretical research. Others are adept in social governance, while some will navigate the intricate realm of diplomacy. Our roles may differ, and our paths may not align perfectly. Yet we must all strive towards a common goal. That is, to study for the resurgence of China. As these final 8 words echoed like thunder throughout the auditorium, an initial hush fell over the crowd, followed by an overwhelming, sustained wave of applause. All the newcomers spontaneously rose from their seats, clapping vigorously, to study for the resurgence of China. This phrase ignited a fervor within the hearts of all the gifted individuals present, akin to a spark kindling their passion and ambition. After the opening ceremony, the video of Yi Bai's speech spread like wildfire throughout the academic circles of the capital. In an instant, his name became the most talked-about topic across various forums, bulletin boards, and communities in major universities. At the Imperial Capital University, an old rival of Qingbei, discussions among students were particularly fervent. Wow, did you see that? The new student from Qingbei this year is astonishing. His oratory skills are absolutely top-notch. Posted a student named Li Ong on the school forum. Not to mention his impressive resume. 2 first-class honors. I doubt I could ever earn a 3rd-class honor in my lifetime, replied a doctoral student with the username Scientific Dog. What he said about studying for the resurgence of China truly resonated with me. I used to think that phrase was somewhat hollow, but hearing it from him imbued it with a completely different weight, remarked a girl named Lin Wei. At the Imperial Capital University of Foreign Languages, a place teeming with beauty, the tone of discussion took on a slightly different flavor. Ladies, that guy Yi Bai from Qingbei is incredibly handsome, and he is so talented and full of positive energy. He is absolutely my ideal type, gushed a girl named Zhang Qi in the dormitory group chat. Chi, don't get your hopes up. A guy of his caliber must already be taken. But seriously, he was so charismatic during his speech. His confidence and composure were utterly captivating. Chimed in her roommate, Lu Yu. I wonder if he has a girlfriend. I'd love to run into him at Qingbei. Can our department arrange a social event with him to promote cross-cultural exchange? At the Capital Ethnic University, students' discussions took on a more contemplative tone. Yi Bai's success undoubtedly stems from his personal talents, yet it is also inseparable from the grand stage our nation provides in this era. A Tibetan youth named Wang stated during a club meeting. His speech reminded us that regardless of our ethnic backgrounds, we should integrate our personal endeavors into the national tide of development. Absolutely. A Uyghur girl named Guli Na agreed. He emphasized that while our roles may differ, our goals remain aligned. This serves as an inspiration for us students studying minority languages and cultures. We too can contribute to the cultural prosperity and national unity of our country. As soon as the speech concluded, Yi Bai discreetly slipped out of the university and dove into his high-tech factory located in the suburbs. For the next 2 weeks, he remained almost entirely isolated from the outside world, pouring all his energy into this colossal metal beast. He slept only 3 to 4 hours each night, snacked on bread when hungry, and downed strong coffee when weary. Through his relentless effort, he finally announced the completion of this enormous contraption just 1 day before the grand military competition. Just as Yi Bai exhaled a sigh of relief and prepared to contact the Lonka Institute, his phone rang first. It was Jiang Ming, the project leader from the Lonka Institute. Comrade Yi Bai, may I inquire about the progress of the modifications? I don't mean to rush you, but our downstream construction team has been idle for nearly 2 months, and the workers are continually asking when that big machine will be ready. Further delays will incur significant losses for the entire project. Director Jiang, there's no need to worry. It's already completed. What? Jiang Ming was momentarily taken aback. Completed? Yes, it's finished. You can bring your team over for inspection now. After receiving this affirmation, Jiang Ming fell silent for a few seconds before exclaiming, Great. That is wonderful. We'll head over immediately. After hanging up, Yi Bai glanced at the time, a smile forming on his lips. What a splendid opportunity. How could I not live stream this? He expertly set up the live streaming equipment and opened the broadcast room. Ye God, the missing person has finally returned. What the heck? Ye God, where have you been for the past 2 weeks? I thought you had been abducted by aliens. As soon as the live stream began, countless anxious fans flooded in, and the comment section filled the screen instantly. Yi Bai smiled mysteriously at the camera. Dear friends, don't fret. These past 2 weeks, I've been crafting a super treasure for our Dragon Nation. As he spoke, he slowly moved the camera to reveal the colossal creation resting in the center of the factory. It boasted a long and massive body resembling that of a centipede, with hundreds of pairs of metallic, glimmering, bionic limbs aligned symmetrically along its sides. The heavy, segmented shell reflected a cold sheen under the factory lights, instilling an overwhelming sense of oppression just by looking at it. It nearly touched the 10-meter-high ceiling of the factory, occupying almost 2/3 of the entire space. What the hell is this? A centipede? A steel centipede? This size. It's the centipede elder from One Punch Man, for sure. It's definitely a dragon-level disaster. My goodness, Yi God has managed to create a monster in just 2 weeks. After a brief moment of stunned silence, the entire live stream erupted with excitement. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have gained shock value, 3,000. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have gained shock value, 4,500. Ding. Director Jiang Ming entered briskly with a large group of experts from the Lonka Institute. However, when they laid eyes on the steel behemoth at the center of the factory, all footsteps halted abruptly. This is... Jiang Ming pointed at the colossal creation, his voice trembling slightly. The experts behind him were equally dumbfounded, as if they had encountered something that defied all understanding. Director Jiang, I have not failed you, Yi Bai said with a smile as he approached. The all-terrain multi-legged transport platform, Centipede, has been successfully modified. This. An elderly expert with gray hair pointed at the hundreds of fierce bionic limbs. Comrade Yi Bai, where are the wheels? Why have they all been replaced with centipede legs? Indeed, another expert eagerly chimed in. This has truly transformed into an oversized centipede. With our current technology, it's impossible to achieve such complex multi-legged coordinated movement control. It's not just about transportation. It may not even be able to move at all. The faces of the experts were etched with anxiety. This is a disaster. 300 million in funding. Countless hours of labor. Are we really going to let it all go to waste? Yet, observing the despondent expressions of the experts, the viewers in the live stream were thoroughly entertained. These experts clearly don't know about Yi God's capabilities. I can't wait to see the drama unfold. I'm here for Yi God's epic comeback. The classic sequence is about to begin. First, the skepticism, then the astonishment, and finally, kneeling in awe. As the experts voiced their skepticism, Yi Bai chose not to elaborate excessively. Ladies and gentlemen, hearing is deceiving, but seeing is believing. Shall we conduct a field test right now? A test? Dean Jiangming looked at Yi Bai with doubt. Can such a massive entity truly move? Yi Bai offered a faint smile, refraining from answering, and instead proceeded to the adjacent mobile control console. Skyward Centipede, initiate system. With his command, a deep and resonant hum filled the entire workshop. The once dormant steel behemoth came to life, with numerous blue energy beams illuminating the gaps in its armored shell. Hydraulic joints resembling hundreds of bionic limbs began to emit bursts of white steam. Amid the anxious and astonished gazes of the onlookers, one of the foremost limbs on the right side of the colossal creature slowly lifted. Following that, a second, then a third. And soon hundreds of limbs began to alternate in movement, rising and falling. The rhythmic thuds reverberated throughout the workshop, causing it to tremble slightly. It moved. It truly moved. A young expert exclaimed in disbelief. Under Yi Bai's control, the steel centipede began to glide forward in the spacious factory with remarkable steadiness. Its massive frame flowed across the ground as hundreds of limbs moved seamlessly, exhibiting neither stutter nor delay. My goodness, this sense of pressure is overwhelming. I have goosebumps. If this thing were to appear in reality, I might faint on the spot. Thank goodness it's not real. It's merely in Yishen's factory. If it were on the streets, it would surely be a catastrophic event. Dean Jiangming and the other experts were utterly astounded by the sight before them. The intricate problem of multi-limb coordinated movement, which had stumped them throughout their careers, had been transformed into reality in such a magnificent and breathtaking manner by this young man. Chapter 290. If this is a monster, even the 749 Bureau would be helpless. Incredible. Simply astounding. The elderly expert, with hair as white as snow, blushed with excitement. The complexity of coordinated control had